The shaman codes secret knowledge, rituals and techniques for your transformation. The call of shamanism. Hear and you will be heard. Shamanism is one of humanity's oldest spiritual practices, deeply rooted in the traditions and cultures of indigenous peoples worldwide. The call of shamanism is an inner urge, a kind of spiritual longing that attracts people from different walks of life and cultures. This call is no coincidence. It is often the result of a deep, inexplicable desire to establish a connection with nature and the universe that transcends the purely physical. It is a longing for something greater than ourselves, for a deeper understanding of life and our role in it. Many people who follow the call of shamanism report a feeling of unease or a kind of spiritual emptiness in their lives. They sense that there is more than what they can see and touch. In a world increasingly dominated by technology and material values, these people long for a way to reconnect with the primal, sacred forces of nature. Shamanism offers just that, a way to rediscover the deep spiritual connection to the earth, to the spirits of nature, and to themselves. The call to shamanism is often quiet and subtle, but sometimes overwhelming and urgent. It can manifest in dreams, recurring thoughts, or a sudden interest in spiritual or mystical topics. For some, this call comes in the form of a personal or health crisis that compels them to rethink their previous ways of life and seek new paths to healing and self-knowledge. It's important to understand that shamanism isn't simply a fad or an esoteric trend, but a serious spiritual practice that requires deep knowledge and respect. Shamanism invites us to see the world with different eyes, with the eyes of the heart and soul. It teaches us that everything in the universe is interconnected and that through these connections we can find healing, insight, and spiritual growth. A central aspect of the calling of shamanism is the return to nature and the recognition of its sacred power. In many shamanic traditions, nature is viewed as living and animated, with each element possessing its own spirit or energy. The shaman serves as a mediator between the visible and invisible worlds, between humans and the spirits of nature. This connection allows us to receive healing and guidance from these spirits, but also to harmonize and strengthen our own energies. Another important element of the call is the concept of the shamanic journey. This practice allows the shaman to enter altered states of consciousness and travel to the spiritual realms to gain knowledge and healing. The shamanic journey is one of the central techniques in shamanism and often requires years of practice and dedication to master. However, even for beginners, the journey can be a powerful tool for gaining deeper insights and spiritual experiences. For many people who follow the call of shamanism, the journey begins with simple practices such as meditation, mindfulness, and connecting with nature. These techniques help calm the mind and hear the inner voice that guides us onto the shamanic path. It is a path of learning, growth, and constant change. The call of shamanism is therefore not only an invitation, but also a challenge to let go of our old selves and open ourselves to the deeper mysteries of the universe. Another fascinating aspect of the call is the realization that shamanism is not a religion in the traditional sense. There are no fixed dogmas or beliefs that must be followed. Instead, shamanism is based on personal experiences and direct encounters with the spiritual world. It is a deeply individual practice, in which each shaman finds their own path and discovers their own spiritual truths. This freedom makes shamanism particularly attractive to those seeking an authentic and personal spiritual experience. Today, we are seeing a revival of interest in shamanism, particularly in Western societies. This is partly a response to the growing alienation from nature and the increasing complexity and hectic pace of modern life. Many people are seeking an escape from the stress and fragmentation of their existence and find in shamanism a way to regain harmony with themselves and the world. In conclusion, the call of shamanism addresses a deep spiritual need within us that is often neglected in the modern world. It is a call that invites us to reconnect with the fundamental forces of life, to heal ourselves, and to expand our consciousness. For those who are ready to hear and follow this call, a world of wonder, mystery, and profound spiritual insights opens up. It is a path that leads us not only to ourselves but also to a deeper connection with the universe and all living beings. The origins of shamanism. Shamanism is one of humanity's oldest spiritual practices, deeply rooted in the cultures and traditions of indigenous peoples worldwide. Its origins date back thousands of years, long before written records existed. To understand the beginnings of shamanism, it is necessary to take a look at the historical roots and cultural diversity of this spiritual practice. Shamanism is not limited to a single culture or region, but is a universal phenomenon that has developed independently in many parts of the world. The prehistoric beginnings. The first evidence of shamanic practices can be found in prehistoric cave paintings dating back over 30,000 years. These paintings often depict figures interpreted as shamans, people in trance states who communicate with spirits or animals. These depictions can be found in various parts of the world, from Europe to Africa, and indicate that shamanic practices were an integral part of the spiritual lives of our ancestors. In prehistoric times, the shaman was a central figure in the community. He or she acted as a healer, seer, and spiritual leader. The shaman was the one who could travel to the spiritual worlds to obtain healing and knowledge for the community. This ability to mediate between the worlds made the shaman an indispensable figure who could ensure the survival of the community by curing illnesses, influencing the weather, and ensuring hunting success. Prehistoric cave paintings and artifacts show that shamans had a deep connection to nature and animals. Many of these depictions show hybrid beings, half human, half animal, which can be interpreted as an expression of the spiritual fusion of humans and animals. These early depictions suggest that the shaman not only acted as a mediator between humans and nature, but also had a deep spiritual connection to animals and nature. Shamanism in different cultures. Shamanism has manifested itself in different ways in different parts of the world, depending on the respective cultural and ecological conditions. Despite these differences, there are fundamental commonalities that characterize shamanism as a universal spiritual phenomenon. In Siberia, often considered the birthplace of shamanism, the shaman was a key figure in society. The shamanic traditions of the Siberian peoples are well documented and offer deep insight into the workings and significance of shamanism. Shamans in Siberia were viewed as mediators between humans and the spirits of nature. They used drums and other instruments to enter trance states and communicate with the spirits. These trance states allowed them to travel to the spiritual worlds to seek advice and healing for the community. Shamanism was also widespread in North America, particularly among the indigenous peoples of the plains, coastal regions, and the Arctic. The shamans of these cultures played a similar role to their Siberian counterparts. They were healers, spiritual guides, and mediators between humans and the spiritual forces of nature. Many of these traditions continue to this day and are maintained and passed on by the indigenous peoples of North America. In South America, particularly in the Amazon region, shamanism is deeply rooted in indigenous cultures. Amazonian shamans use a variety of plants, especially ayahuasca, to enter trance states and communicate with the spirits of nature. These plants are considered sacred and are a central element of shamanic practice. Amazonian shamans view nature as alive and animated, and their practices aim to create harmony between humans and nature. Africa also has a rich tradition of shamanism, evident in the continent's diverse indigenous cultures. In many African cultures, shamans, often known as healers or sangamas, play a central role in society. They are responsible for curing illnesses, communicating with ancestors, and performing spiritual rituals designed to ensure the well-being of the community. African shamanism often emphasizes the importance of ancestors and the need to live in harmony with them to ensure health and prosperity. The role of the shaman in society. Regardless of the specific cultural expression, shamans always played a central role in their communities. They were more than just spiritual leaders. They were healers, advisors, and often political leaders. The shaman was the one who was able to travel to the spiritual worlds to gain knowledge and healing necessary for the survival and well-being of the community. However, the role of shaman also came with great responsibility. Shamans had to be able to engage with and control powerful spiritual forces to ensure the well-being of their community. They had to be able to cure illnesses, influence the weather, ensure the success of hunts, and maintain peace with the spirits of nature. These tasks required intensive training and often years of practice to acquire the necessary skills and knowledge. In many cultures, shamanism was viewed not only as a spiritual practice but also as a science. Shamans were required to possess a deep knowledge of nature, medicinal plants, and spiritual forces. This knowledge was often passed on orally from generation to generation, with each generation expanding the knowledge through their own experiences and discoveries. The cultural diversity of shamanism is also reflected in the different ways and methods shamans performed their duties. While some shamans worked primarily as healers, others focused on spiritual guidance or performing rituals. In some cultures, shamans were revered as seers and prophets, able to predict the future and warn the community of impending dangers. Conclusion. The historical roots and cultural diversity of shamanism demonstrate that this spiritual practice is deeply rooted in human history and culture. Shamanism is more than just a relic of the past. It is a living tradition still practiced today by many indigenous peoples around the world. The universal elements of shamanism, connection to nature, communication with spirits, and healing, are timeless and relevant, regardless of the specific cultural expression. Shamanism offers us insight into the spiritual world of our ancestors and reveals how they understood and cultivated their relationship with nature and the universe. This knowledge is also invaluable today, as it helps us rediscover and deepen our connection to nature and ourselves. Shamanism teaches us that everything in the universe is interconnected and that we are part of a greater whole that we must respect and honor. The diversity of shamanic traditions and practices demonstrates that there is no single way to practice shamanism. Each culture has developed its own methods and rituals for connecting with spiritual forces. This diversity is a sign of the adaptability and universal relevance of shamanism. It shows us that, regardless of our cultural background, we are capable of connecting with and learning from the spiritual forces of the universe. Shamanism and its basic principles. Shamanism is an ancient spiritual practice deeply rooted in many indigenous cultures around the world. The term shamanism itself comes from the word shaman, used in the Tungus language of Siberia, meaning one who knows or one who sees. This definition already hints at one of the shaman's fundamental functions. They are a knower, a seer, someone who can enter the hidden realms of reality to attain wisdom and healing. However, shamanism cannot be reduced to a simple definition, as it is practiced and interpreted differently in different cultures. It is not a unified religion or a fixed belief system, but rather a collection of practices and beliefs aimed at exploring the spiritual world and strengthening the connection between humans and nature. The universal characteristics of shamanism. Although shamanism can take different forms in different cultures, there are certain universal characteristics that distinguish it from other spiritual practices. These characteristics constitute the basic principles of shamanism and can be found in virtually all shamanic traditions. The shamanic journey. A central element of shamanism is the shaman's ability to enter altered states of consciousness and undertake spiritual journeys to other planes of reality. These so-called shamanic journeys allow the shaman to connect with spirits, ancestors, and other entities that exist in the spiritual world. Through these journeys, the shaman can attain healing and wisdom, which they then bring back to the physical world. The connection to nature. Shamanism emphasizes the deep interconnectedness of all living beings and elements of nature. Shamans view nature as alive and animated, with every tree, river, and mountain possessing its own spirit or energy. This close connection to nature is not only a source of spiritual power but also a way to maintain harmony and balance in the world. Healing and transformation. Shamans are often considered healers, able to diagnose and treat illnesses of both physical and spiritual nature. Healing in shamanism often occurs through restoring energetic balance in the body and dissolving spiritual blockages. It is believed that many illnesses are caused by an imbalance or disconnection from the spiritual world. Working with spirits and ancestors. Another essential feature of shamanism is working with spirits and ancestors. Shamans believe that the spirits of the deceased, animals, plants, and natural forces exist in a parallel spiritual world and that these spirits can have both positive and negative effects on the living world. Through rituals and ceremonies, the shaman contacts these spirits to seek advice and assistance. The use of rituals and symbols. Rituals play a central role in shamanism. They serve as tools for entering the spiritual world, communicating with spirits, and activating healing energies. These rituals may include chants, dances, drumming, smoke offerings, and the use of sacred plants and symbols. Symbols are of great importance in shamanism because they act as bridges between the physical and spiritual worlds. Shamanism as a worldview. Shamanism is more than just a collection of spiritual practices. It represents a comprehensive worldview that permeates all aspects of life. This worldview is based on the belief that everything in the universe is interconnected and that these connections exist on a spiritual level that transcends what can be perceived with the physical senses. In this shamanic worldview, there is no separation between the sacred and the profane, between the spiritual and the material. Everything is sacred, and everything has spiritual significance. This holistic perspective contrasts with many modern worldviews that make a clear distinction between the physical and spiritual worlds. Shamanism teaches that the spiritual world is just as real as the physical world and that events in the physical world are often the result of processes in the spiritual world. Therefore, The shaman's job is to identify the spiritual causes of problems and treat them at their root, rather than simply addressing the superficial symptoms. Shamanism and the modern world. Today, shamanism is experiencing a revival, particularly in Western societies that have become increasingly alienated from nature and spiritual values. Many people are seeking alternative ways to find healing and spiritual fulfillment and are turning to shamanism because it offers them a deeper connection to nature and their own spiritual being. For many modern practitioners of shamanism, this spiritual tradition offers a way to overcome the emptiness and loss of meaning they feel in the modern world. Shamanic practices such as shamanic journeying, working with power animals, and performing rituals can help them reconnect with their inner wisdom and the wisdom of nature. At the same time, there are also challenges in integrating shamanism into the modern world. One of the biggest challenges is preserving the authenticity and integrity of shamanic practices while adapting them to the needs and realities of today. Many indigenous cultures from which shamanism originated have expressed concerns that their spiritual traditions could be commercialized or misunderstood when practiced by people not embedded in those cultures. Nevertheless, shamanism offers a valuable contribution to modern spiritual practice by teaching us to respect and nurture the deep connection between humans and nature. It reminds us that we are part of a greater whole and that we bear responsibility for the well-being of all living beings and the earth. The shaman as mediator between the worlds. Another central aspect of shamanism is the role of the shaman as a mediator between the worlds. The shaman is someone who has the ability to travel between the physical and spiritual worlds to gain knowledge, healing, and guidance. These journeys often occur in trance states induced by various techniques such as drumming, chanting, or the ingestion of sacred plants. In the role of mediator, the shaman must be able to understand the spirit's messages and translate them into a form that is useful to the community. This requires not only spiritual abilities but also a deep understanding of human psychology and the social structures of the community. The shaman must often make difficult decisions and maintain a balance between the needs of the physical and spiritual worlds. The shaman's responsibility as a mediator is great, as they are often the community's only connection to the spiritual forces that influence its survival and well-being. This requires a high degree of integrity, wisdom, and dedication. The shaman must be able to put aside their own interests and desires in order to act in the service of the community and the spiritual world. Conclusion. Shamanism is a complex and diverse spiritual practice deeply rooted in human cultures. It offers a unique perspective on the world and our relationship with nature by teaching us to explore and respect the spiritual dimensions of life. Through shamanic journeying, working with spirits and ancestors, healing the body and soul, and a deep connection to nature, shamanism offers a path to inner and outer harmony. In today's world, where many people are seeking spiritual fulfillment and a deeper meaning in life, shamanism offers valuable tools and insights to achieve these goals. It invites us to see the world with new eyes, renew our connection to nature, and explore the spiritual dimension of our being. By engaging with the teachings of shamanism, we can not only find healing and wisdom for ourselves, but also contribute to the well-being of our communities and the earth. The connection between man and nature. The connection between humans and nature is a central element of shamanism and lies at the heart of this ancient spiritual practice. In many shamanic traditions, nature is not viewed as something separate or external, but as an integral part of human existence. Shamanism teaches that humans are not above nature, but rather a part of it, embedded in a complex network of relationships with all living beings and the forces of nature. Nature as a living being. In shamanism, nature is viewed as alive and animated. Every tree, every animal, every river, and every mountain has its own spirit, its own energy. These spirits of nature are referred to as nature spirits in many shamanic traditions and play a central role in the spiritual life of the community. Shamans regularly interact with these nature spirits, whether to achieve healing, gain knowledge, or maintain harmony between humans and nature. This view differs greatly from the modern Western notion, which often views nature as a resource to be exploited for human benefit. In shamanism, however, nature is considered sacred, and the relationship between humans and nature is characterized by respect, gratitude, and mutual care. This spiritual connection to nature is not merely a matter of belief, but manifests itself in concrete practices and rituals aimed at maintaining the balance between humans and nature. The role of the shaman as mediator. The shaman plays a special role in this relationship. As an intermediary between the human community and the spirits of nature, it is their task to maintain and strengthen this connection. The shaman communicates with the nature spirits to gain their support, whether for a successful harvest, protection from natural disasters, or healing from illness. This communication often takes place through rituals that invoke the power and wisdom of the nature spirits. An important aspect of this role is the shaman's ability to understand the language of nature. This means that the shaman is able to interpret the signs and symbols of nature, such as animal behavior, the weather, or dreams, which contain messages from nature spirits. These signs are not seen as coincidences, but as important messages that can influence the well-being of the community. Rituals to strengthen the connection to nature. Rituals play an essential role in maintaining the connection between humans and nature in shamanism. These rituals may vary depending on the culture and tradition, but they all have the goal of preserving or restoring harmony between humans and nature. Examples of such rituals include the celebration of annual cycle festivals, which honor the cycles of nature, or special ceremonies aimed at gaining the protection and support of nature spirits. A well-known example is the sweat lodge ritual, practiced in many indigenous cultures in North America. In this ritual, the connection to the earth and the elements of fire, water, and air is symbolically and physically strengthened. Participants enter an enclosed space where heated stones transform water into steam. This steam purifies body and mind, and the ritual itself is often understood as a return to the womb of the earth, where participants are symbolically reborn and renew their connection to nature. In South American shamanic traditions, the use of sacred plants such as ayahuasca plays a central role in strengthening the connection between humans and nature. The ingestion of these plants allows the shaman and participants to enter altered states of consciousness, where they can gain profound insights into nature and the universe. These experiences are often viewed as a direct encounter with the spirit of the plant and nature, which can teach and heal people. The importance of nature for healing. In shamanism, nature is viewed as a source of healing, both on a physical and spiritual level. Many shamanic healing methods are based on knowledge of the healing properties of plants, minerals, and other natural elements. Shamans use this knowledge to treat illnesses that are understood to be expressions of an imbalance between humans and nature. Healing in shamanism is closely linked to restoring harmony with nature. When a person is ill, This is often seen as a sign that their connection to nature has been disrupted. The shaman works to restore this connection by invoking the spirits of nature and harnessing the healing powers of plants and other natural elements. This is not just about alleviating symptoms, but about holistic healing of the person, encompassing body, mind, and spirit. Ecological responsibility in shamanism. Shamanism also conveys a deep sense of ecological responsibility. Since nature is viewed as living and animated, this implies that humans have a responsibility to protect and preserve it. Shamans teach that every action affects the balance of nature and that it is important to act with mindfulness and respect for all living beings. In the modern world, where environmental destruction and climate change are among the greatest challenges, shamanism offers valuable insights and practices for developing a more sustainable and harmonious relationship with nature. Shamanic teachings emphasize the need to live in harmony with natural cycles and respect the earth as a living organism whose well-being also influences the well-being of humanity. Conclusion. The connection between humans and nature is central to shamanism. It shapes not only spiritual practice but also the daily lives of those who follow this path. Shamanism teaches us that nature is not just a backdrop for our lives, but a living being with which we have a deep, spiritual relationship. This connection is a source of wisdom, healing, and harmony that influences both individual and collective well-being. At a time when humanity is increasingly alienated from nature, shamanism offers a path back to a deeper, respectful, and harmonious relationship with the earth and all its living beings. It reminds us that we are part of a greater whole and that our prosperity and health are inextricably linked to the prosperity and health of nature. The spiritual cosmos of shamanism. Shamanism is permeated by a deep understanding of the spiritual cosmos, which forms the basis of the shamanic worldview. This spiritual cosmos is a multidimensional reality that extends far beyond the physical world in which we live. For the shaman, this invisible world is just as real and meaningful as the visible world, and it is their task to navigate between these worlds to gain wisdom, healing, and guidance. The tripartite division of the cosmos. A central concept in shamanism is the threefold division of the cosmos into the upper world, the middle world, and the lower world. These three worlds are interconnected and together form the totality of shamanic reality. Each of these worlds has its own inhabitants, laws, and meanings, and the shaman can gain access to them through his spiritual journeys. The upper world. The upper world is the realm of higher spiritual beings, teachers, and ancestors. It is a world of light and wisdom where the shaman receives advice and insight from enlightened spirits and spiritual guides. In many shamanic traditions, the upper world is considered a place of pure spirit and divine order, beyond physical existence. Here, the shaman seeks deep spiritual truths and visions to help him lead and heal his community. The middle world. The middle world corresponds to our physical reality, but is also permeated by spiritual forces. It is the world where humans, animals, plants, and spirits coexist. In the middle world, the shaman can interact with both the spirits of nature and the spirits of deceased people. This world is often the setting for shamanic healings and rituals, in which the shaman influences the spiritual energies in the physical world to create balance and harmony. The lower world. The lower world is a world of power and primal knowledge. This is where power animals and other powerful beings live, offering protection and support to the shaman. Unlike some cultural beliefs that associate the underworld with negativity or evil, In shamanism, the lower world is viewed as a place of deep wisdom and hidden powers. It is a world of instincts, primal energies, and intuitive knowledge. In the lower world, the shaman finds his power animals, who accompany and support him on his spiritual journeys. These power animals are powerful allies who help the shaman overcome challenges and achieve healing. The journey through the worlds. The shaman's ability to travel through the various worlds of the cosmos is one of the fundamental practices of shamanism. These journeys occur in an altered state of consciousness, which the shaman induces through various techniques such as drumming, singing, dancing, or the ingestion of sacred plants. In this state, the shaman can leave their physical environment and enter the spiritual worlds. Each of these worlds offers the shaman different types of knowledge and support. In the upper world, the shaman seeks spiritual wisdom and visionary insights to help him understand and guide life on earth. The middle world offers the opportunity to communicate directly with the spirits of nature and to effect healing in the physical world. The lower world is a place of deep personal power, where the shaman can gather strength and courage for his tasks in physical life. These journeys are not merely symbolic acts, but genuine spiritual experiences that profoundly influence the lives of the shaman and his community. The shaman enters into direct contact with the beings and forces that exist in these worlds and brings back the insights and energies gained to apply in the physical world. The spirits and beings of the cosmos. In the shamanic cosmos, there are a multitude of spirits and entities that have different roles and tasks. These entities are not just abstract concepts, but are viewed as real, living forces with which the shaman can communicate. Among the most important are ancestral spirits. In many shamanic traditions, ancestral spirits play a central role. These ancestral spirits are deceased members of the community who live on in the spiritual world and from their support and guide their descendants. The shaman often contacts these ancestors to seek advice, obtain protection, or resolve conflicts within the community. The connection to the ancestors is viewed as a source of wisdom and strength that ensures the survival and well-being of the community. Nature spirits. Nature spirits are the spiritual forces that dwell in the elements of nature, trees, rivers, mountains, and animals. These spirits are considered protectors and guardians of the natural world. Shamans communicate with them to gain their support for healing, protection, and preservation of nature. Nature spirits play an important role in shamanic rituals aimed at maintaining the balance between humans and nature. Power animals. Power animals are powerful spiritual allies who accompany the shaman on their journeys. Each power animal has specific characteristics and abilities that it provides to the shaman. For example, a bear might provide protection and strength, while an eagle might assist the shaman with keen insight and spiritual clarity. The relationship between the shaman and their power animal is close and based on mutual respect and trust. The power animal is often considered a manifestation of the shaman's own inner power. Spirit guides and spiritual teachers. In the upper world, the shaman often encounters spiritual teachers and spirit guides who offer higher wisdom and divine guidance. These beings are enlightened spirits who help the shaman understand complex spiritual questions and guide him on his path of spiritual development. In many shamanic traditions, these spirit guides are sources of deep spiritual insight and visions that shape the life of the shaman and his community. The cosmos as a mirror of the self. Another important aspect of the shamanic cosmos is the notion that the outer worlds of the cosmos also reflect inner worlds of the self. This idea is based on the assumption that the spiritual journey through the cosmos is simultaneously a journey into one's inner self. The worlds of the cosmos, the upper, middle, and lower worlds, correspond to different aspects of the human mind and soul. The upper world can be understood as the place of higher consciousness, inspiration, and divine connection. It reflects humanity's quest for spiritual enlightenment and transcendent wisdom. The middle world represents daily reality and interaction with the physical world, including the relationships, challenges, and experiences of daily life. It is the place where humans apply their spiritual insights and powers in the world. The lower world represents the deeper, unconscious aspects of the self, the primal instincts and hidden powers. This is where the roots of human existence come into play, the intuitive knowledge and inner power that often lie dormant in the subconscious. The journey through these worlds is therefore also a journey to self-knowledge and self-healing. By exploring the spiritual worlds, the shaman simultaneously explores the depths of his or her own mind and soul. These explorations led to a deeper understanding of one's own being and help resolve inner conflicts, discover hidden talents, and fully develop one's spiritual potential. Conclusion. The spiritual cosmos of shamanism is a complex and fascinating concept that reveals a deeper dimension of reality. For the shaman, this dimension is not merely a theoretical construct, but a living reality that they explore and regularly interact with through their spiritual journeys and rituals. The tripartite division of the cosmos into the upper, middle, and lower worlds provides a comprehensive model for understanding the different levels of existence and consciousness. The spirits and entities that inhabit these worlds are powerful allies who assist the shaman in gaining wisdom, healing, and guidance. By working in the spiritual cosmos, the shaman can not only influence the well-being of his or her community, but also promote his or her own spiritual growth and personal healing. The cosmos of shamanism is thus a mirror of the universe and the self, a place where the divine, nature, and the individual exist in harmonious and reciprocal exchange. This cosmos invites us to transcend the boundaries of the physical world and explore the deep spiritual mysteries of the universe. The practice of shamanism. The shamanic journey. The shamanic journey is one of the central practices of shamanism and serves as a primary means of entering the spiritual world and communicating with the entities that exist there. These journeys enable the shaman to gain knowledge and healing, which they then bring back to their physical world. To fully understand the shamanic journey, it is important to know the fundamentals of this practice, how it is conducted, its goals, and its role in the shamanic worldview. The altered state of consciousness. The foundation of every shamanic journey is entering an altered state of consciousness. This state, also known as a trance or ecstatic state of consciousness, allows the shaman to leave behind their normal perception of the physical world and gain access to the spiritual realms. In this state, the shaman can transcend the boundaries of physical reality and enter the non-physical reality, which in shamanism is considered just as real and meaningful as the material world. There are various methods to achieve this altered state of consciousness. One of the most common techniques is the use of rhythmic drum beats. The monotonous, steady beating of a drum at a frequency of approximately 4 to 7 beats per second creates a vibration that puts the brain into a state of deep relaxation and concentration. This state is similar to the theta state of the brain, which typically occurs during deep meditation or in the phases between sleep and wakefulness. In addition to drumming, Other methods such as rattles, chanting, dancing, breathing techniques, or the use of sacred plants can be used to induce trance. The choice of method often depends on the particular culture and tradition in which the shaman practices, as well as the shaman's personal preferences. What's important is that the method effectively helps calm the mind, relax the body, and focus consciousness on the spiritual journey. Preparing for the trip. A successful shamanic journey requires careful preparation. The shaman must prepare physically, mentally, and spiritually to ensure they are able to complete the journey safely and achieve the desired results. Physical preparation may involve the shaman fasting before the journey or performing certain rituals to cleanse and strengthen the body for the journey. Mental preparation often involves the shaman meditating to calm the mind and focus on the goal of the journey. Spiritual preparation might include invoking guardian spirits or power animals to guide and assist the shaman on their journey. Another important aspect of preparation is clear intention. The shaman must know why they are undertaking this journey and what they want to achieve. A clear intention helps focus the journey and guides the shaman onto the right path in the spiritual realms. Common goals of a shamanic journey include finding a power animal, seeking healing for themselves or others, receiving wisdom or guidance from spiritual teachers or ancestors, or resolving personal or community conflicts. The course of the shamanic journey. Once the shaman has entered the altered state of consciousness, the actual journey begins. This journey can take place in one of the three worlds of the shamanic cosmos: the upper world, the middle world, or the lower world, depending on the goal of the journey and the shaman's intention. The journey often begins with a symbolic transition that marks the entry into the spiritual world. This may be a symbolic door, a tunnel, a tree, or other passage through which the shaman passes to leave the physical world and enter the spiritual world. This transition helps to place the shaman in the correct mental and spiritual state and prepare them for what they will experience on the journey. In the spiritual world, the shaman encounters spirits, power animals, ancestors, or other spiritual beings who assist him on his journey. These encounters are often highly visual and can bring intense emotional and spiritual experiences. The shaman communicates with these beings, receives wisdom and guidance from them, or requests their assistance for healing or other tasks. It's important to emphasize that the shamanic journey is an active and conscious experience. The shaman is not a passive observer, but actively interacts with the beings and environment they encounter in the spiritual world. These interactions are often symbolic and require the shaman's ability to correctly interpret the messages they receive and place them in the context of their intention. Return and integration. The return from the shamanic journey is just as important as the journey itself. After fulfilling their tasks in the spiritual world, the shaman consciously returns to the physical world. This return process is often accompanied by symbols and rituals that facilitate the transition between the worlds. The shaman leaves the spiritual world through the same passageway they used at the beginning of the journey and returns to their normal state of consciousness. A key aspect of the return is the integration of the experiences and insights the shaman gained during the journey. This integration is crucial because the insights gained in the spiritual world must now be applied in the physical world to be effective. The shaman reflects on the experience, interprets the symbols and messages he has received, and decides how to implement them in his life or in the life of the community. In many shamanic traditions, it is customary for the shaman to share his or her experiences with others, especially if the journey was undertaken on behalf of the community or for another person. Sharing these experiences can occur through stories, rituals, or by applying what has been learned in healing or counseling. The wisdom the shaman brings back from his or her journeys thus becomes a valuable asset to the community and contributes to spiritual and social health. Challenges and dangers of the shamanic journey. Although the shamanic journey is a powerful and transformative practice, it also presents challenges and potential dangers. The shaman must venture into uncharted territory that can be both breathtakingly beautiful and deeply terrifying. Encountering powerful spirits or confronting deep personal fears and shadows can be overwhelming. There is also the danger of becoming lost in the spiritual realms or having difficulty returning to the physical world. For this reason, it is important that the shaman has sufficient experience and protection before embarking on deeper or more complex journeys. In many traditions, a budding shaman is accompanied by an experienced mentor or teacher who helps them safely navigate these challenges. Another risk is that the insights gained during the journey may be misinterpreted or misunderstood. The spiritual worlds often communicate through symbols and metaphors that are not always obvious. The shaman must be able to correctly interpret these symbols and place their meaning in the proper context to ensure that the information they bring back is useful to themselves and the community. Conclusion. The shamanic journey is one of humanity's oldest and most profound spiritual practices. It offers the shaman the opportunity to travel to the spiritual realms to gain wisdom, healing, and guidance, which they then bring back to their physical world. However, this practice requires discipline, experience, and a deep connection to the spiritual world to be performed safely and effectively. The fundamentals of the shamanic journey: achieving an altered state of consciousness, careful preparation, the trajectory of the journey, the return and integration, and awareness of the associated challenges, are crucial to the success of this practice. When properly conducted, the shamanic journey can lead to profound spiritual insights and profoundly transform the lives of the shaman and their community. It reminds us that the spiritual and physical worlds are inextricably linked, and that by exploring these worlds, we can gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and the universe. The levels of the shamanic world. In shamanism, the world is divided into several levels, or worlds, which together form the shamanic cosmos. These levels are not physical in the traditional sense, but spiritual realms that the shaman visits through his journeys. Each of these levels has its own inhabitants, laws, and energies, offering the shaman different opportunities for healing, wisdom, and spiritual development. Understanding these levels is fundamental to any shamanic practice, as they provide the framework for shamanic journeys and rituals. The lower world. The lower world is often the first plane a shaman explores during their spiritual journeys. It is considered the realm of primal forces and deep, hidden knowledge. The lower world is home to power animals, considered powerful spiritual allies in many shamanic traditions. These animals represent various aspects of human nature, such as strength, wisdom, protection, or healing, and offer support and guidance to the shaman. The lower world is often described as a world of nature, wild lands, and untouched landscapes. It is a place strongly connected to the earth and is often accessed through subterranean caves, root systems, or waterways. Journeys to the lower world are usually focused on personal healing, the rediscovery of lost knowledge, or the search for power animals. Despite its connection to the earth, The lower world is by no means primitive or dangerous. Rather, it is considered a place of profound wisdom and protection, where the shaman can connect with the oldest and most powerful energies. It is also a place where the shaman connects with their own roots and subconscious to gain deeper insights into their personal history and spiritual development. The middle world. The middle world corresponds to the physical reality in which we live, but it is also permeated by spiritual forces and entities that are often invisible. This world is the world of humans as well as the world of the spirits of nature and deceased souls. In the middle world, shamans interact with the spirits that live in the trees, rivers, mountains, and animals. These spirits can assist the shaman in bringing healing and balance to the physical world. In the middle world, the shaman is also able to communicate with the spirits of deceased people, especially with ancestors. This communication can be used to obtain advice, resolve old conflicts, or gain the spiritual support of the ancestors for current problems. The middle world is a complex realm in which the shaman navigates both physical and spiritual reality. The middle world is often where most shamanic healings take place. Here, the shaman can influence the energies that affect daily life and identify and treat the spiritual causes of physical or emotional problems. It is a world that is both familiar and mysterious, and it requires the shaman to be finely attuned and sensitive to the subtle spiritual energies at work in physical reality. The upper world. The upper world is the realm of higher spiritual beings, teachers, and divine energies. This world is often described as a place of light, purity, and higher wisdom. Here, the shaman can communicate with spiritual teachers, angelic beings, ancestors, or divine figures who offer profound insights and spiritual guidance. Journeys to the upper world are often aimed at achieving spiritual enlightenment, receiving visions of the future, or clarifying complex spiritual questions. This world is less characterized by earthly worries and challenges and is viewed as a place of clarity and divine order. Access to the upper world is often achieved through symbolic means such as climbing a mountain, ascending into heaven, or crossing a bridge. The upper world is not only about receiving wisdom, but also about achieving a deeper understanding of one's own spiritual destiny and the cosmic laws that govern the universe. Here, the shaman can gain insights into the bigger picture and find answers to questions concerning human life and its relationship to the divine plan. Transitions and connections between the worlds. One of the most fascinating aspects of the shamanic worldview is the idea that these different worlds do not exist in isolation, but are connected by spiritual transitions. These transitions can be represented as symbolic passages such as caves, bridges, rivers, or mountains that the shaman traverses to move from one world to the other. The shaman must learn to safely navigate these transitions and correctly interpret the signs and symbols they see along their journey. These transitions are often also tests or initiations that prepare the shaman for the challenges that await them in the next world. The ability to transition between these worlds and integrate the insights gained there is a hallmark of an experienced shaman. These connections between the worlds also symbolize the unity of all things in the shamanic cosmos. Although the worlds may appear distinct and separate, they are all parts of a greater whole. The shaman learns to overcome the separation between the worlds and to harmonize the various aspects of spiritual and physical reality. Conclusion. The levels of the shamanic world offer fascinating and profound insight into shamanic worldview and practice. They represent not only different spiritual realms, but also different aspects of human consciousness and cosmic reality. By traveling through these levels, the shaman not only gains knowledge and healing, but also a deeper understanding of their own existence and their connection to the universe. These worlds are not simply places to be visited, but dynamic and living realms that shape and influence the spiritual life of the shaman. Understanding these realms is crucial to any shamanic practice, as they provide the framework for shamanic journeys, rituals, and healing. By exploring these worlds, the shaman can gain profound insights that enrich not only their own life but also the life of their community. How to prepare for a shamanic journey. Preparing for a shamanic journey is an essential step that determines the success and safety of the journey. A well-prepared journey enables the shaman to navigate the spiritual realms with clarity and focus, achieve the desired goals, and return safely to the physical world. This preparation encompasses both physical and mental aspects, which are explained in detail below. Spiritual preparation. Spiritual preparation is perhaps the most important aspect of a shamanic journey, as it determines the shaman's mental state and influences their ability to enter and effectively navigate the spiritual worlds. Key elements of spiritual preparation include clarifying the intention. Before embarking on a shamanic journey, the shaman must clearly define their intention. The intention is the focal point of the journey and gives it direction and purpose. Whether it's to seek healing, find a power animal, resolve a question, or receive wisdom from ancestors, the intention must be clearly and consciously stated. A well-defined intention helps the shaman navigate the correct level of the spiritual world and find the right allies. Meditation and focusing. Before the journey, the shaman should spend time in meditation to calm the mind and focus attention on the journey ahead. This meditation can be supported by breathing exercises, visualization, or other forms of mental discipline. The goal is to clear the mind and release all distracting thoughts, allowing the shaman to fully focus on the spiritual journey. Protection and safety. Before beginning the journey, it is important to seek spiritual protection. This can be done by invoking guardian spirits, ancestors, or power animals to guide and protect the shaman on their journey. Many shamans also use protective amulets, herbs, or rituals to ensure they are protected from negative influences or spirits during the journey. This protection is crucial to ensuring the shaman can safely navigate the spiritual worlds and return home safely. Physical preparation. In addition to spiritual preparation, physical preparation also plays an important role in conducting a successful shamanic journey. The shaman's physical condition can influence the quality of the journey and determines how well the shaman is able to enter an altered state of consciousness and concentrate on the journey. Body cleansing. Many shamans perform a physical and symbolic cleansing before a journey. This cleansing can be accomplished through fasting, baths with sacred herbs, incense rituals, or the drinking of special cleansing teas. The purpose of this cleansing is to rid the body of negative energies and physical impurities that might burden or distract the shaman during the journey. Diet and fasting. Some traditions emphasize fasting or eating light, pure foods before a shamanic journey. Fasting can help clear the mind and make the body more receptive to the spiritual experience. However, it's important to practice fasting responsibly and to know your body well to ensure it positively influences the journey. Comfortable clothing and environment. The choice of clothing and the environment in which the journey takes place are also important. The shaman should wear comfortable clothing that does not restrict movement and promotes relaxation. The environment should be quiet, safe, and free from distractions to allow for an uninterrupted and profound journey. Many shamans prepare a special sacred space in which to conduct their journeys and ensure that this space is energetically pure. Spiritual preparation. Spiritual preparation is the third fundamental aspect of preparing for a shamanic journey. It includes rituals, prayers, and other spiritual practices that attune the shaman to the journey and strengthen their connection to spiritual forces. Invoking spirits and allies. Before embarking on a journey, it is customary to invoke the support of spirits, ancestors, and spiritual allies. This can be done through prayer, chants, or rituals. The shaman asks these beings for protection, guidance, and support during the journey. Invoking these forces helps the shaman feel safe and accompanied and strengthens the connection to the spiritual worlds they will travel to. Creating a sacred space. Many shamans prepare a sacred space for their journeys. This may be a special altar decorated with sacred objects such as crystals, feathers, candles, or images of ancestors. The sacred space serves as an anchor for the spiritual work, helping the shaman focus and get into the right frame of mind for the journey. Creating such a space is an act of devotion and respect for the spiritual forces with which the shaman will be working. Use of ritual objects. Shamans often use special objects to help them achieve the correct state of consciousness and enter the spiritual realms. These include drums, rattles, feathers, crystals, or incense. These objects have symbolic and energetic significance and are used during the journey to support the shaman and strengthen the connection to the spiritual forces. The implementation of the trip. After the mental, physical, and spiritual preparation is complete, the shaman begins the actual journey. The shamanic journey follows a clear process that ensures the shaman completes the journey consciously and with focus. Entering the altered state of consciousness. The shaman begins the journey by entering an altered state of consciousness. This occurs through previously chosen methods, such as drumming, chanting, breathing techniques, or the use of sacred plants. The shaman leaves the physical world behind and focuses his or her entire attention on the spiritual worlds he or she is about to enter. Navigating the spiritual realms. During the journey, the shaman navigates the spiritual realms they wish to reach. They follow their intention and the symbolic clues they receive along the way. They interact with the spirits, power animals, or ancestors they encounter, gathering the necessary information, healing energies, or answers they seek. Conscious return. Once the goals of the journey have been achieved, the shaman consciously returns to the physical world. This process of return is important to ensure that the shaman does not remain stuck in the spiritual worlds and can fully integrate their experiences into physical reality. The shaman leaves the spiritual worlds through the symbolic transition used at the beginning of the journey and returns to the normal state of consciousness. Follow-up and integration. The follow-up is just as important a part of the shamanic journey as the preparation and implementation itself. It includes reflecting on the experiences, interpreting the messages received, and integrating the insights gained into daily life. Reflection and recording. After returning from the journey, it is helpful to write down or reflect on the experiences. This helps preserve the details of the journey and refer to them later. Many shamans keep a special journal to document their journeys in order to identify patterns and recurring symbols. Interpretation of messages. The messages and symbols received during the journey must be interpreted. This often requires deep reflection and sometimes consultation with an experienced shaman or teacher. Interpretation is crucial for translating spiritual insights into a form that is applicable to daily life. Integration into daily life. Integrating the insights gained into daily life is the final step of a shamanic journey. This may involve changing certain behaviors, incorporating new rituals into daily life, or applying the insights gained to work with others. Integration ensures that the spiritual work is not limited to the duration of the journey, but enriches the life of the shaman and his or her community in the long term. Conclusion. Preparing for a shamanic journey is a comprehensive process encompassing mental, physical, and spiritual aspects. Each of these components contributes to the safe and successful completion of the journey and the achievement of the desired outcomes. Through careful preparation, conducting the journey in an altered state of consciousness, and subsequent follow-up and integration, shamans can gain profound insights and healing that transform their lives and the lives of their communities. The shamanic journey is a powerful practice that allows one to transcend the boundaries of physical reality and delve into deeper levels of consciousness and spiritual truth. By preparing for and consciously undertaking these journeys, the shaman opens themselves to the infinite possibilities of the spiritual cosmos and the wisdom hidden within. Power animals and spiritual guides. Meaning and role of power animals. Power animals are a central element of shamanism and play a crucial role in the spiritual practice of many indigenous cultures around the world. These spiritual companions are viewed as powerful allies who assist the shaman on their journeys through the spiritual realms, offering protection and profound insights. Understanding the meaning and role of power animals is crucial to fully grasping shamanic practice and harnessing its transformative power. What are power animals? Power animals, also known as totem animals or spirit animals, are spiritual beings that manifest in the form of animals. They are not mere symbols or archetypes, but are viewed in shamanism as living, conscious forces possessing special qualities and abilities. These animals appear not only in dreams or visions but can also be represented in the physical world by real animals that appeal to the shaman in a special way or that the shaman recognizes as a manifestation of their power animal. Each power animal has specific characteristics that make it unique and assist the shaman in their spiritual work. For example, an eagle might represent vision, grandeur, and spiritual clarity, while a bear represents strength, protection, and healing. These animals are not only spiritual guides but also mirrors of the shaman's inner powers and abilities. They embody aspects of the personality and soul that need to be developed or healed and offer valuable lessons and support on the spiritual path. The role of power animals in shamanism. Power animals assume a variety of roles and functions in shamanism that go far beyond protecting the shaman. Their tasks are diverse and depend on the shaman's specific needs and the spiritual journey they are on. The most important roles of power animals include protection and companionship. One of the main characteristics of power animals is their ability to protect the shaman. On their journeys through the spiritual realms, the shaman may encounter hostile or negative energies that threaten them or hinder their work. In such situations, the power animal serves as a protective shield, warding off these negative influences and guiding the shaman safely through the spiritual realms. It is a faithful companion, assisting the shaman in difficult times and guiding them through dangerous or challenging situations. Guidance and wisdom. Power animals also serve as wise guides, offering spiritual insight and guidance to the shaman. They help the shaman make the right decisions by lending their special qualities and abilities. This wisdom can manifest in the form of visions, intuitive promptings, or symbolic actions that the power animal reveals to the shaman. For example, a shaman with a wolf as their power animal might learn to rely on their instincts and work in community with others, while a shaman with an owl as their power animal might develop the capacity for keen observation and deep insight. Healing and transformation. Many power animals possess healing powers that help the shaman heal physical, emotional, or spiritual wounds. This healing can occur in various ways, such as transmitting energy, demonstrating healing methods, or guiding the shaman to specific herbs or remedies. Power animals also support the shaman's personal transformation by helping them overcome old patterns and blockages and advance in their spiritual development. A shaman whose power animal is a butterfly might learn, through the transformation from caterpillar to butterfly, how to break free from old phases of life and enter a new, expanded state of being. Connection to nature and the elements. Power animals also act as intermediaries between the shaman and the natural world. They help the shaman establish a deeper connection with nature and the elements by sharing their specific powers and energies. A shaman with a dolphin as their power animal, for example, might develop a special connection to water and ocean forces, while a shaman with an eagle as their power animal might consider the air and sky to be their elements. This connection to nature is not merely symbolic but deeply rooted in the spiritual practice of shamanism, which emphasizes the oneness of all things in the universe. How to find your spirit animal. Finding a power animal is a central step in shamanic practice and often one of the first steps a shaman takes on their path. There are several methods for finding a power animal, and these can vary from culture to culture. The most common methods include shamanic journeying. One of the most common methods for finding a power animal is through shamanic journeying. The shaman enters an altered state of consciousness, often through drumming or chanting, and travels to the lower world to find their power animal. During this journey, the power animal may appear in the form of an animal that speaks to, follows, or interacts with the shaman. This encounter is often experienced as very vivid and real, leaving a profound impression that cements the relationship between the shaman and their power animal. Dreams and visions. Power animals can also appear in dreams or visions. A shaman might dream of a particular animal repeatedly or feel that a particular animal is appearing in their visions to convey a message. These dreams and visions should be carefully observed and reflected upon, as they can provide important clues about the shaman's power animal. Encounters in the physical world. Sometimes a power animal manifests itself in the physical world by encountering the shaman in a special way. This could be an animal that repeatedly encounters the shaman, approaches the shaman, or reveals itself at times when the shaman must make a spiritual decision. Such encounters are often interpreted as a sign that the animal is entering the shaman's life as a power animal. Rituals and ceremonies. In some shamanic traditions, there are special rituals or ceremonies performed to call or find the power animal. These rituals may include prayers, chants, dances, or offerings to the spirits of nature. Through these rituals, the shaman signals their willingness to receive the power animal and establish a deep, respectful relationship with it. Nurturing the relationship with your power animal. Once found, it's important to nurture and strengthen the relationship with your power animal. This relationship isn't static, but develops over time, much like a friendship or partnership. Here are some ways shamans can deepen their connection with their power animal. Regular communication. The shaman should communicate with their power animal regularly, whether through meditation, prayer, or shamanic journeying. This communication helps maintain the connection and integrate the power animal into the shaman's daily life. Through this regular interaction, the shaman can also receive new insights and support from their power animal. Honor and respect. The power animal should be treated with respect and honor. This can be done through small rituals such as placing a picture of the power animal on an altar, lighting candles, or reciting prayers dedicated to the animal. The shaman thus shows his gratitude and appreciation for the support the power animal provides. Integration into everyday life. The power animal can also be integrated into the shaman's daily life by consciously using the animal's characteristics and abilities in their life. This could mean channeling the strength of the bear when faced with challenges or harnessing the sharpness of the eagle to gain clarity in difficult situations. By applying the energies of their power animal in their daily life, the relationship is strengthened and the animal becomes an active part of their spiritual practice. How to find your spirit animal. Finding a power animal is a significant step on the shamanic path, as the power animal serves as a spiritual ally and guide. This process is profound and requires both spiritual openness and a conscious search. There are various methods for finding a power animal, and these methods can vary depending on tradition and personal inclination. Here are the most common approaches used to discover one's personal power animal. Shamanic journeys. One of the most effective methods for finding a power animal is shamanic journeying. This journey is often conducted in an altered state of consciousness, achieved through drumming, rattling, chanting, or meditation. The shaman or practitioner enters the lower world, where the power animals reside. During the journey, the power animal may encounter the seeker in various ways. It may reveal itself by following the shaman, observing him, or interacting with him directly. The encounter with the power animal is often experienced as very vivid and real, and the animal's presence usually leaves a deep impression. These animals do not appear by chance. They come because they are ready to support and guide the shaman on his path. It's important to remain open and receptive to the encounter during the journey, accepting the animal without prejudice or expectations. Each animal has a special meaning and offers unique lessons and support, regardless of how they may appear at first glance. Dreams and visions. Another common way to find a spirit animal is through dreams and visions. Animals that appear repeatedly in dreams or are strongly present in visions could indicate a spirit animal trying to make itself known. These dreams are often vivid and memorable, and they may be associated with a strong emotional or spiritual resonance. It's advisable to keep a dream journal and regularly reflect on the animals that appear in your dreams. If a particular animal appears repeatedly, it could be a sign that this animal has special significance and wants to act as a spirit animal. In such cases, it's helpful to explore the animal's characteristics and symbolic meaning to better understand the messages it conveys. Encounters in the physical world. Sometimes a power animal can also be identified through repeated encounters in the physical world. If a shaman or practitioner encounters a particular animal regularly, whether in nature, everyday life, or in unexpected situations, this could be a sign that this animal is entering their life as a power animal. These encounters can occur in different ways. An animal might repeatedly appear nearby. attract special attention, or behave unusually. In such moments, it's important to listen to your intuition and observe the animal's behavior to decipher the message it's conveying. It's also possible that an animal appears frequently in the form of images, symbols, or in the media, which can also be interpreted as a sign. When an animal draws attention to itself in this way, it's worth considering its symbolic meaning and how its characteristics fit into your own life. Rituals and ceremonies. Many shamanic traditions have special rituals or ceremonies aimed at calling or finding the power animal. These rituals may include prayers, dances, chants, incense burning, or invoking the spirits of nature. Such ceremonies are often led by an experienced shaman who introduces and supports the practitioner in the process. During the ritual, the power animal may appear in a vision, in a dream the following night, or as an intuitive insight that arises during or shortly after the ritual. These rituals strengthen the connection to spiritual forces and open awareness to the power animal's presence. The ritual calling of a power animal is a sacred act that should be performed with respect and devotion. The practitioner thereby demonstrates their willingness to accept the animal's spiritual support and engage in a deep, life-changing relationship. Meditation and visualization. Meditation and visualization are also effective methods for finding a power animal. The practitioner can relax in a calm, meditative state and imagine entering a natural environment such as a forest, meadow, or cave. During this visualization, they allow the animals to appear in their imagination and observe which animal approaches them or draws their attention in a particular way. These meditations can be performed repeatedly until the power animal clearly reveals itself. The practitioner should be patient and open to all animals that appear, without any preferences or expectations. Often, the first animal to appear in the meditation is the power animal that presents itself to the practitioner. Working with visualizations is particularly useful because it allows the practitioner to tune into the animal's energy and establish an initial connection with it before encountering it in a deeper shamanic journey or in physical life. Deepen the relationship with the power animal. Once the power animal is identified, the real work of deepening the relationship with this spiritual ally begins. This relationship is dynamic and grows over time as the practitioner integrates the power animal into their life. Regular communication. The practitioner should regularly connect with their power animal, whether through meditation, dreams, or shamanic journeying. This regular communication helps strengthen the connection and gain new insights. Recognition and respect. The power animal should be honored and respected. This can be done through small rituals that celebrate or thank the animal. The practitioner can also wear a symbol of the power animal or place it on an altar. Integration into everyday life. The power animal offers support in many areas of life. The practitioner can consciously integrate the animal's characteristics and strengths into their daily life, whether by using its power in difficult situations or by utilizing its wisdom in decision-making processes. Through this continuous work with the power animal, it becomes an irreplaceable ally that accompanies the practitioner on his spiritual path and helps him to develop his full spiritual power. Spiritual leaders and their messages. Spiritual guides are powerful entities that play a central role in the shamanic cosmos. They are enlightened spirits, ancestors, angels, or other spiritual beings who assist the shaman on their path to spiritual enlightenment, healing, and wisdom. These guides not only provide protection and support but also convey profound spiritual messages that guide the shaman and their community. The nature of spiritual leaders. Spiritual guides are not mere figures or archetypes, but are viewed as conscious, intelligent beings who exist on a higher spiritual plane. They are often wise, compassionate, and have a deep connection to the cosmic laws and energies that govern the universe. These guides are able to understand complex spiritual connections and communicate them to the shaman in a way that is relevant to their current life and spiritual development. Each spiritual guide has their own special abilities and tasks. Some are there to protect the shaman from negative energies. Others offer healing or impart wisdom necessary for spiritual development. Some spiritual guides are also there to help the shaman recognize and develop their own spiritual powers in order to fulfill their role as healer and leader in the community. How spiritual leaders enter life. Spiritual guides enter the life of a shaman or practitioner in various ways. This contact can occur spontaneously or as a result of a deliberate search for spiritual guidance. The most common ways spiritual guides appear include shamanic journeys. Similar to the search for power animals, a shaman may encounter a spirit guide during a shamanic journey. These guides are particularly present in the upper world, as they exist in a higher plane of spiritual reality. During the journey, the guide may appear in the form of a radiant being offering the shaman wisdom and guidance. Dreams and visions. Spiritual guides may also appear in dreams and visions. These encounters are often accompanied by a deep spiritual resonance and leave a lasting impression. Dreams in which spiritual guides appear are usually clearer and more intense than ordinary dreams and may contain messages or instructions of great significance to the shaman or practitioner. Visions that occur during meditation or other altered states of consciousness are also common ways in which spiritual guides enter a person's life. Spontaneous manifestations in everyday life. It happens that spiritual guides appear spontaneously in everyday life, especially in times of great need or when the shaman must make an important decision. These manifestations can take various forms. For example, as a sudden, intuitive insight perceived as an inner voice or as an extraordinary encounter that guides the shaman. Such encounters can be profound and life-changing. Rituals and ceremonies. Many shamanic traditions include special rituals and ceremonies aimed at establishing contact with spiritual guides. These rituals may include prayers, invocations, offerings, or other ritual acts that invite the presence of the spiritual guides. During such rituals, the guides may appear to the shaman and convey important messages. The messages of spiritual leaders. The messages conveyed by spiritual guides are often profound and carry the potential to transform the life of the shaman or practitioner. These messages can come in the form of wisdom, advice, warnings, or instructions that influence the spiritual path of the recipient. Some typical types of messages conveyed by spiritual guides include wisdom and insights. Spiritual guides often offer insights and wisdom that help illuminate the life of the shaman or practitioner. This wisdom may relate to spiritual principles, cosmic laws, or deeper insights into the nature of reality. Often, these messages help the shaman understand and overcome complex spiritual or personal challenges. Healing and transformation. Many spirit guides are also healers, helping the shaman or practitioner heal physical, emotional, or spiritual wounds. They may provide instruction for healing rituals, release energetic blockages, or guide the shaman to specific remedies or practices that contribute to recovery. These messages are often associated with a sense of peace and renewal and aim to maintain the recipient in a state of wholeness and harmony. Warnings and protection. In some cases, spiritual guides convey warnings of impending dangers or negative influences. These warnings can prepare the shaman for upcoming challenges or protect them from harmful energies and situations. The protection provided by spiritual guides is one of their most important functions, especially when the shaman is venturing into dangerous spiritual territories or working with challenging energies. Guidance and decision making. Spiritual guides often offer clear and precise instructions or advice that help the shaman make important decisions. This guidance can relate to personal, professional, or spiritual choices and helps the shaman navigate their path with clarity and confidence. Such messages are often accompanied by a sense of clarity and determination, giving the recipient the confidence to take the necessary steps. Encouragement and support. Spiritual guides are also there to encourage and support the shaman or practitioner. During difficult times, they can convey messages of hope and comfort that give the shaman the strength to continue. This support is especially important when the shaman faces challenges that test their abilities and faith. Nurturing relationships with spiritual leaders. As with power animals, it is important to actively cultivate and deepen relationships with spiritual guides. This relationship is based on trust, respect, and ongoing communication, which allows the shaman to integrate the guide's support and wisdom into their lives. Regular communication. The shaman should communicate regularly with their spiritual guides, whether through meditation, prayer, or shamanic journeying. This communication helps keep the connection strong and allows the guide's messages to be received clearly and understandably. Respect and gratitude. Spiritual leaders should be treated with respect and gratitude. The shaman can honor them through rituals, offerings, or simply expressing gratitude. This recognition strengthens the relationship and shows the leaders that their support is appreciated. Integrating the messages. The messages of the spiritual guides should be taken seriously and integrated into the shaman's daily life. This may mean performing certain actions, changing behaviors, or incorporating new spiritual practices recommended by the guides into their daily routine. Protecting and nurturing the relationship. The relationship with spiritual guides is a precious asset that must be protected and nurtured. The shaman should ensure that they maintain the connection with the guides in times of need as well as in times of peace and do not neglect the relationship. Conclusion. Spiritual guides play a crucial role in the life of a shaman or practitioner, providing protection, healing, wisdom, and guidance. The relationship with these guides is a source of profound spiritual knowledge and a support on the path to enlightenment and healing. By learning to communicate with their spiritual guides and integrate their messages, the shaman can deepen their spiritual practice and establish a closer connection to the higher planes of reality. Nurturing and respecting this relationship is essential for success and growth on the shamanic path. Spiritual guides are more than just supporters. They are teachers, protectors, and guides who guide the shaman through the challenges of life and the spiritual journey. Rituals and ceremonies. The importance of rituals in shamanism. Rituals play a central role in shamanism and serve as a bridge between the physical and spiritual worlds. They are not merely symbolic acts, but powerful tools that enable the shaman to channel energies, communicate with spirits, and effect healing. The significance of rituals in shamanism lies in their ability to invoke the invisible forces of the universe and bring them into the visible world. Rituals as an expression of spiritual connection. In shamanism, rituals are seen as an expression of the deep connection between humans and nature. This connection is reflected in the various rituals aimed at maintaining or restoring the balance between natural and spiritual forces. Rituals can be performed both privately and in communities and serve to strengthen relationships with the spirits of nature, ancestors, and other spiritual beings. A key aspect of shamanic rituals is the recognition and honoring of natural cycles and elements. Shamans often work with the four elements, earth, water, air, and fire, and the seasons to harmonize the energies in their environment. Through rituals, the interaction between these elements and human needs and aspirations is consciously shaped. Rituals as a means of healing and transformation. Rituals in shamanism often have a healing function. They are used to release energetic blockages, promote spiritual healing, and restore physical, mental, and emotional well-being. The shaman uses rituals to connect with the healing powers of nature and transfer these powers to the affected person. This can be done by invoking power animals, working with healing plants, or performing energetic cleansing rituals. Another goal of shamanic rituals is transformation. Through rituals, the shaman can release old patterns and negative energies and create space for new, positive energies. This transformation can occur on an individual level, but also in relation to the community or the environment. Rituals for transformation are often intense and involve profound symbolic actions that mark the transition from one state to another. Rituals as a path to spiritual knowledge. In addition to healing and transformation, rituals in shamanism also serve to promote spiritual insight and growth. They enable the shaman to connect with higher levels of consciousness and receive wisdom and insight from spiritual guides or ancestors. Rituals aimed at spiritual insight often include meditation, prayers, chants, or shamanic journeys, in which the shaman delves into the spiritual world to find answers to important questions. These rituals are not only aimed at gaining knowledge, but also at expanding consciousness and promoting one's spiritual development. They help the shaman deepen their connection to the universe and understand their role in the larger cosmic scheme of things. Rituals for spiritual realization are often profound and can offer life-changing insights. Conclusion. The significance of rituals in shamanism is diverse and profound. They serve as a connection between the physical and spiritual worlds, as a means of healing and transformation, and as a path to spiritual enlightenment. Through rituals, the shaman can channel the energies of nature and the universe to bring harmony, healing, and wisdom into his life and the life of his community. Rituals in shamanism are not just traditional acts, but living practices that permeate daily life, imbuing it with meaning and depth. They remind us that the spiritual and the material are inextricably linked and that through conscious, ritual actions, balance and harmony between these worlds can be maintained. Annual festivals and their implementation. Year-round festivals are an integral part of shamanic life and reflect the Earth's natural cycles. These festivals mark the transitions between the seasons and honor the forces of nature that influence life on Earth. They provide an opportunity to connect with natural rhythms, express gratitude, and experience spiritual renewal. The practice of these festivals is both a celebration of life and a ritual practice deeply rooted in shamanic traditions. The meaning of the annual cycle festivals. Year-round festivals are known in many cultures around the world, and they are particularly important in shamanism. These festivals mark important turning points in the year, such as the solstices, equinoxes, and the periods between them. Each festival has its own symbolism and meaning related to the cycles of birth, growth, harvest, death, and rebirth. In shamanism, these festivals are used to strengthen the connection to the earth and honor the interactions between humans and nature. They provide an opportunity to pause, appreciate the harvest of the past year, and prepare for the challenges ahead. These festivals are not only a time of celebration, but also of spiritual reflection and renewal. The most important annual festivals. In the shamanic annual cycle, there are 8 main festivals that mark the transitions between the seasons. Samhain, the 31st of October, the end of the old year and the beginning of the new, a celebration of death and rebirth. It is a time to honor the ancestors and prepare for winter. Winter solstice, the 21st of December, the longest night of the year, the rebirth of light. It is a festival of hope and new beginnings, celebrating the reawakening of the sun. Imbolc, the 1st of February, a festival of light and purification that heralds the beginning of spring. It symbolizes the first signs of new life emerging from winter. Spring equinox, the 21st of March, the balancing of day and night, a celebration of balance and growth. It is the time of sowing and new beginnings in nature. Beltane, the 1st of May, a festival of life, fertility, and love. It celebrates the abundance of nature and the union of male and female energies. Summer solstice, the 21st of June, the longest day of the year, a celebration of abundance and supreme light. It is a time to celebrate the highlights of the year and express gratitude for the earth's bounty. Lammas, the 1st of August, a harvest festival celebrating the first harvest of the year. It is a time of gratitude for the earth's fruits and preparation for the coming winter. Autumnal equinox, the 21st of September, another festival of balance, marking the second harvest and symbolizing the beginning of the retreat into winter. Implementation of the annual festivals. The performance of annual cycle festivals in shamanism involves a combination of ritual actions, prayers, meditations, and celebrations. These rituals can be performed individually or in groups and are designed to honor and utilize the specific energies of each season. A typical annual cycle festival begins with the preparation of the ritual space, which is often decorated with symbols and objects representing the energies of the season. This might include, for example, lighting candles to celebrate the winter solstice or scattering flowers and herbs at Beltane. The ritual itself may involve lighting fires, saying prayers, singing songs, or sharing food and drink. Each of these acts has symbolic meaning and helps participants tune into the energies of the season and integrate them into their lives. At the end of the festival, a moment of gratitude and farewell is often held, in which the energies of the rituals are released and the connections to the spiritual forces are honored. Shamanic healing rituals. Shamanic healing rituals are deeply rooted spiritual practices practiced in many indigenous cultures around the world. These rituals serve to heal on physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels and are an essential part of shamanic practice. The healing rituals are based on the belief that health is the result of a balance between body, mind, spirit, and the natural environment. When this balance is disturbed, illness or suffering can result, which can be remedied through shamanic healing rituals. Basic principles of shamanic healing. In shamanism, illness is often viewed as an expression of a spiritual imbalance or energetic blockage. This imbalance can arise from various causes, such as the loss of a soul component, soul loss, the intrusion of negative energies, or a broken connection to nature and spiritual forces. The shaman works as a mediator between the physical and spiritual worlds to identify the causes of illness and restore balance. One of the most important principles of shamanic healing is the idea that everything in the universe is interconnected. This interconnectedness means that healing is not limited to the physical body, but also encompasses the individual's relationships with their environment, fellow human beings, and spiritual forces. Shamanic healing is therefore holistic and encompasses all aspects of life. Types of shamanic healing rituals. There are different types of shamanic healing rituals, which are performed depending on the culture, tradition, and the specific needs of the individual. The most common rituals include soul retrieval. This ritual is performed to bring back lost parts of the soul due to trauma, shock, or prolonged stress. The shaman travels to the spiritual realms to find the lost soul parts and integrate them into the body of the affected person. Soul retrieval is crucial for restoring wholeness and inner balance. Extraction. Extraction rituals are used to remove negative energies or intruders from a person's energy field. These negative energies can cause illness or discomfort. The shaman identifies the foreign energies and removes them using various techniques, such as the laying on of hands, chanting, or the use of power objects. Energetic cleansing rituals. Energetic cleansing rituals help cleanse and revitalize a person's energy field. This can be done through burning sacred herbs, bathing in blessed water, or performing movements and dances designed to release stagnant energy and bring fresh, healing energy into the body. Natural healing rituals. These rituals involve the use of medicinal plants, stones, and other natural elements for healing. The shaman uses his knowledge of the healing properties of plants and minerals to prepare specific remedies tailored to the needs of the affected person. These remedies are often used in conjunction with prayers, chants, and other ritual acts. Process of a shamanic healing ritual. A typical shamanic healing ritual begins with a diagnosis, in which the shaman identifies the spiritual causes of the illness or suffering. This can be done through shamanic journeying, the use of oracles, or by reading the affected person's energy field. After the diagnosis, the shaman prepares the ritual space, often by creating an altar, burning sacred herbs, and calling upon spirits and power animals. During the ritual, the shaman enters an altered state of consciousness, often through drumming, rattling, or chanting, to access the spiritual realms. They then work with the spiritual forces to perform the necessary healing, whether through soul retrieval, extraction, or energetic cleansing. The ritual concludes with an integration, in which the shaman harmonizes the energies and guides the person back to their daily life. The art of healing. Shamanic healing techniques. Shamanic healing techniques are deeply rooted in the spiritual practice of shamanism and aim to restore balance between body, mind, spirit, and the spiritual realms. These techniques are based on the belief that all illness and suffering are due to an imbalance or disturbance in the energetic or spiritual realm. The shaman acts as a mediator between the realms, using their connection to spiritual forces to bring about healing. Soul retrieval. One of the central shamanic healing techniques is soul retrieval. This technique is used when a part of the soul has been lost due to trauma, shock, or prolonged stress. In shamanism, it is believed that such soul losses can lead to illness, depression, or a feeling of emptiness. The shaman enters an altered state of consciousness, often through drumming or chanting, and travels to the spiritual realms to find and return the lost soul parts. This retrieval restores wholeness and balance to the affected person. Extraction. Another important technique is extraction, which aims to remove negative energies or foreign influences from a person's energy field. These negative energies can be considered intruders that cause physical or emotional illness. The shaman uses his or her spiritual abilities to locate these foreign energies and extract them through various methods such as the laying on of hands, chanting, or the use of powerful objects. Extraction frees the person from harmful influences and restores the natural flow of energy. Energetic cleansing. Energetic cleansing rituals are another important element of shamanic healing techniques. These rituals serve to cleanse and revitalize a person's energy field. The shaman uses sacred herbs, smoke, water, or salts to remove negative energies and invite positive, healing energies. This cleansing can be performed individually or in larger groups and is often part of a more comprehensive healing ritual. Ritual healing. Ritual healing is an integral part of shamanic practice. The shaman performs complex rituals that often include elements such as prayers, chants, dances, and offerings to the spirits of nature or ancestors. These rituals aim to heal the spiritual causes of illness, restore harmony between the worlds, and promote healing on all levels. Each ritual is individually tailored to the needs of the patient and can vary depending on culture and tradition. Working with energy and aura. In shamanism, humans are viewed as beings surrounded by a complex energy field, often referred to as an aura. This energy field is an extension of the individual's physical, emotional, and spiritual states and plays a central role in well-being. Working with energy and aura is therefore an important component of shamanic healing, as it aims to cleanse, balance, and strengthen the energy field. Understanding the aura. The aura is described as an invisible energy field surrounding the physical body and consists of different layers connected to the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of the individual. Each of these layers has a specific function and reflects the individual's state of health. Disturbances or blockages in any of these layers can lead to physical or emotional problems. The shaman works to identify and resolve these blockages to restore harmony throughout the energy field. Energetic cleansing and balancing. One of the most fundamental techniques in working with energy and auras is energetic cleansing. The shaman uses various methods such as burning sacred herbs, beating drums or rattles, or placing hands on the body to cleanse the energy field. These cleansings remove stagnant or negative energies that have accumulated over time and make room for fresh, healing energies. Balancing the aura is also crucial, as an imbalanced energy field can lead to discomfort or illness. Through targeted energy work, the energy field is harmonized and its natural balance is restored. Chakra work. Chakras are energy centers in the body that play a key role in the flow of life energy. In shamanism, chakras are often worked with to improve energy flow and release blockages. Each chakra is associated with specific physical and emotional aspects, and the shaman can activate or balance these centers through energy work, visualizations, or the use of crystals and colors. A healthy, well-functioning chakra structure is crucial for overall well-being and spiritual development. Protection and strengthening of the aura. In addition to cleansing and balancing, the shaman places great emphasis on protecting and strengthening the aura. This can be achieved through rituals, prayers, or the wearing of protective amulets. The shaman can also use specific techniques to strengthen the aura, such as infusing it with positive energies or charging it with healing powers. This protection is especially important for protecting the energy field from negative influences and maintaining the vitality and well-being of the individual. Shamanic medicinal herbs and their use. Shamanic medicinal herbs play a central role in the practice of shamanism and have been used for millennia for healing, spiritual cleansing, and energetic strengthening. These herbs are more than just plants. They are viewed as living beings with their own spirits and healing powers. The shaman works closely with these plants to harness their healing properties for physical, emotional, and spiritual purposes. The selection and collection of medicinal herbs. In shamanism, the selection and collection of medicinal herbs is carried out with great care and respect. The shaman often gathers the herbs himself, relying on his intuition and the guidance of the spirits of the plant world. It is customary to make thank offerings to the plants before harvesting to honor their spirits and request their permission to use their powers. These rituals emphasize the deep connection between humans and nature and respect for natural resources. The choice of medicinal herbs depends on the specific illness or need to be treated. Each plant has unique healing properties determined by its chemical composition and spiritual energy. For example, sage is often used for cleansing and protection, while plants like chamomile have calming and healing effects on the mind. Application and preparation. Shamanic medicinal herbs are used in various ways, depending on the patient's needs and the nature of the illness. The most common methods of application are incense. Many medicinal herbs are dried and then burned to release their healing scents and energies. These incenses are used to purify spaces, dispel negative energies, or open the mind for spiritual work. Herbs such as sage, mugwort, and sweetgrass are particularly popular for this practice. Teas and tinctures. Medicinal herbs can be made into teas or tinctures, which are taken to relieve physical and emotional ailments. These preparations harness the plant's healing properties in a direct and concentrated way. Teas made from herbs such as chamomile, mint, or valerian can have a calming effect and help relieve stress or sleep disturbances. Tinctures, made by steeping herbs in alcohol or another solvent, offer a powerful way to harness the healing powers of plants in a concentrated form. Ointments and poultices. Shamanic medicinal herbs are often processed into ointments or poultices that are applied externally to the skin. These preparations are particularly useful for skin conditions, muscle pain, or joint pain. Herbs such as arnica, calendula, and aloe vera are known for their healing properties for external injuries and skin irritations. The ointments and poultices help relieve inflammation, accelerate wound healing, and reduce pain. Baths and ablutions. Another common practice is the healing bath or herbal ablution. This method is used to energetically cleanse and revitalize the body. Certain herbs are added to the bath water, allowing their healing properties to be absorbed through the skin. A bath with lavender or rosemary can have a relaxing and mind-clarifying effect, while baths with herbs such as eucalyptus or thyme are helpful for colds and respiratory illnesses. Direct application and rituals. In some shamanic healing rituals, herbs are placed directly on specific parts of the body or used in rituals to assist healing. This application is often part of a broader ritual process in which the shaman combines the healing energy of the plants with prayers, chants, and energetic techniques to promote healing on all levels. Medicinal herbs play a central role in these rituals, serving as mediators between the physical and spiritual realms. Spiritual meaning and connection. In shamanism, medicinal herbs have not only physical but also spiritual significance. Each plant is viewed as a being with its own spirit, and the shaman often develops a close relationship with the plants they work with. This relationship is not only practical but also spiritual, as the herbs are viewed as allies that help the shaman achieve healing and gain spiritual insight. Spiritual work with medicinal herbs often includes rituals of gratitude and honor, in which the shaman thanks the plant spirits for their support and invokes their powers. These rituals can include simple prayers or elaborate ceremonies that express the shaman's respect for the plant world and his dependence on its healing powers. Shamanism in modern life. Shamanism in today's society. Shamanism is one of humanity's oldest spiritual practices, yet its relevance has not diminished in the modern world. In recent decades, interest in shamanism has increased in Western societies, as many people seek alternative ways to find healing, spiritual growth, and a deeper connection with nature. This rediscovery of shamanism reflects a growing yearning for a return to a more holistic view of life, one in which body, mind, and spirit are viewed as inextricably linked. Shamanism as a response to modern challenges. In a world increasingly dominated by technology, rationality, and material progress, many people feel alienated from their natural environment and their spiritual roots. Shamanism offers a way to overcome this alienation by teaching practices and teachings that emphasize the connection to natural cycles, the elements, and spiritual forces. Shamanic practices such as shamanic journeying, working with power animals, and performing healing rituals offer paths to deeper understanding of one's life and living in harmony with the natural world. Another reason for the growing interest in shamanism is the desire for holistic healing. While modern medicine often focuses on treating symptoms, shamanism aims to identify and treat the root causes of illness, which often lie in energetic or spiritual imbalances. Many people seek healing in shamanism for chronic illnesses, emotional trauma, or spiritual crises that cannot be fully addressed by modern medicine. Shamanism and ecological responsibility. Another important aspect of shamanism in contemporary society is its contribution to environmental awareness and ecological responsibility. Shamans and their practices emphasize the sacred relationship between humans and nature and teach that all living beings are interconnected. This perspective promotes a deep understanding of the need for environmental protection and the sustainable use of natural resources. At a time when climate change and environmental degradation are among the most pressing global challenges, shamanism offers valuable insights and practices that can help promote a more sustainable way of life. Many modern shamans are actively involved in environmental conservation projects and use their spiritual practices to raise awareness of the importance of the earth and its resources. Challenges and misunderstandings. Despite its growing popularity in the modern world, shamanism also faces challenges. One of the greatest is the danger of commercialization and the superficial application of shamanic practices. In some cases, shamanic rituals and teachings are removed from their cultural context and marketed as New Age techniques, lacking the depth and respect they require. This can not only lead to misunderstandings but also dilute the original spiritual and cultural value of shamanism. Another issue is access to authentic shamanic knowledge. In many cases, indigenous communities have preserved and passed on their shamanic traditions for centuries, but contact with Western culture has often led to a loss of this knowledge. It is therefore important that those interested in shamanism proceed with respect and care to ensure they utilize the knowledge in a way that honors the origins and cultural significance of these practices. Integration of shamanic practices into everyday life. Integrating shamanic practices into everyday life can be an enriching experience that can profoundly transform lives. Shamanic practices are not just for spiritual ceremonies or special occasions, but can be easily and effectively integrated into daily life. This allows you to maintain the spiritual and energetic connection that promotes well-being and inner balance. Shamanic rituals for everyday life. One of the easiest ways to integrate shamanic practices into your daily life is to incorporate small rituals into your routine. These rituals can help you begin the day with a clear intention and focus your mind. For example, lighting a candle in the morning can be a moment of reflection and gratitude to the forces of nature. Likewise, a short prayer or meditation that strengthens your connection to your power animals or spirit guides can help you begin the day in a harmonious state. Burning sacred herbs like sage or palo santo can also be part of your daily practice to energetically cleanse the space and strengthen your aura. These small, regular rituals help clear the energy of the day and create a positive, supportive environment. Shamanic journeys and meditations. Shamanic journeys and meditations don't have to be limited to long ceremonies. They can also be conducted in shorter, daily sessions. A short shamanic journey of 10 to 15 minutes can help gain clarity in a situation, reduce stress, or make an important decision. These journeys can lead to a spiritual place of power or be connected to a power animal or spirit guide who offers advice and support. Meditations based on the visualization of natural elements or spiritual symbols can also be incorporated into daily life. These practices promote the mindfulness and spiritual connection necessary to stay centered and balanced amidst the challenges of modern life. Connection to nature. Another important aspect of integrating shamanic practices into everyday life is a conscious connection to nature. This can be achieved through regular walks in nature, where you take the time to notice and appreciate the beauty and energy of your natural surroundings. Consciously working with the elements, whether by feeling the wind, touching the earth, immersing yourself in water, or observing fire, strengthens the connection to the natural world and reminds us that we are part of a greater whole. Gardening, caring for plants, or conscious cooking with natural foods are other ways to experience the shamanic connection to nature in everyday life. These activities not only bring joy and relaxation but also promote energetic balance and spiritual well-being. Shamanic healing techniques in everyday life. Many shamanic healing techniques can also be integrated into everyday life. Laying on of hands, working with crystals, or using medicinal herbs can help balance and harmonize one's energy field. Singing power songs or drumming can also be a simple yet effective method for energetic cleansing and strengthening. Furthermore, the practice of gratitude and giving, which plays a central role in shamanism, can be incorporated into everyday life. This can be done by daily expressing gratitude for the little things in life or by consciously giving time, resources, or energy to others. Shamanism and mental health. Shamanism, one of humanity's oldest spiritual practices, offers valuable tools to support and promote mental health. At a time when mental illnesses such as depression, anxiety disorders, and burnout are becoming increasingly common, many people are seeking holistic approaches that incorporate body, mind, and spirit. Shamanism, which views health and well-being as a dynamic balance of energy and spiritual harmony, can make a profound contribution here. The shamanic view of mental health. In shamanism, mental health is viewed as a state of balance between the individual and the various dimensions of their existence: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. When this balance is disturbed, mental health problems can manifest. These disturbances are often considered energetic or spiritual imbalances caused by trauma, negative energies, the loss of soul parts, or separation from nature and spiritual forces. A fundamental principle in shamanism is the idea that all living beings and elements of the universe are interconnected. This interconnectedness means that mental health cannot be viewed in isolation, but must be seen in a larger context of relationships, environment, and spiritual connection. The shaman, acting as a healer and mediator between the worlds, works to restore these connections and renew balance. Shamanic techniques to promote mental health. Shamanic techniques offer various approaches to support and promote mental health. Some of the most important techniques include soul retrieval. One of the most well-known shamanic healing rituals is soul retrieval, which involves bringing back lost parts of the soul that have been severed due to trauma or shock. In shamanism, it is believed that these soul losses can lead to psychological problems such as depression, anxiety, or a feeling of inner emptiness. Retrieving these soul parts can help restore inner balance and strengthen mental health. Energetic cleansing. Energetic cleansing rituals are another important method for promoting mental health. Negative energies or psychic intruders can disrupt a person's energy field and lead to emotional or mental problems. Through smudging with sacred herbs, laying on hands, or using protective amulets, the shaman can remove these negative energies and cleanse the energy field, which can lead to a noticeable improvement in well-being. Shamanic journeys. Shamanic journeys allow individuals to enter altered states of consciousness and interact with the spiritual world. These journeys can help gain deeper insights into the root causes of psychological problems, find answers to pressing questions, or receive healing from spiritual guides and power animals. Shamanic journeys offer a safe and guided way to engage with one's inner worlds and have transformative experiences. Connection to nature. Shamanism emphasizes a deep connection to nature as an essential aspect of mental health. Contact with nature, whether through walks, outdoor meditation, or consciously working with the elements, can have a calming and healing effect. This connection helps reduce stress, clear the mind, and increase a sense of connection to the greater whole, which in turn promotes mental well-being. Shamanism as a complement to modern psychotherapy. Shamanic practices can be a valuable complement to modern psychotherapy. While Western psychotherapy is often based on conversations, cognitive techniques, and the analysis of behavioral patterns, shamanic methods offer a holistic approach that incorporates the spiritual and energetic dimensions of mental health. Shamanic healing rituals, for example, can be used in combination with psychotherapeutic approaches to facilitate deeper healing. This can be particularly useful when traditional therapeutic methods alone are insufficient to reach or treat the root causes of psychological problems. Collaboration between shamans and psychotherapists can lead to patients receiving more comprehensive support and experiencing deeper and more lasting healing. Challenges and precautions. Although shamanism offers powerful tools for promoting mental health, it is important to use these practices with caution and respect. Shamanic healing rituals should ideally be performed by experienced practitioners who are well trained and able to safely guide the spiritual and energetic processes. It is also important that people seeking shamanic healing do so in a context that considers their individual situation and needs. Furthermore, shamanism should not be viewed as a substitute for professional mental health treatment, but rather as a complementary practice that can be used in conjunction with conventional therapies. People with serious mental illnesses should always seek the support of qualified professionals and consider shamanic practices as part of a comprehensive treatment plan. Shamanism and environmental awareness. In shamanism, the environment is viewed as living and sacred. Everything in nature, trees, rivers, mountains, animals, and even the soil, is animated and endowed with its own spirit. This spiritual perspective emphasizes the deep connection between humans and nature, which shamanism considers inseparable. Humans are not merely inhabitants of the earth, but an integral part of the natural cycle, responsible for their own well-being and the well-being of all living beings. Shamans view environmental destruction not only as a physical problem, but also as a spiritual crisis. They believe that the disregard and exploitation of nature disrupts the Earth's balance and leads to global problems such as climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss. The shamanic perspective encourages respect and honoring the environment as a living being and teaches that healing the earth goes hand in hand with healing humanity. This perspective fosters a deep awareness of the responsibility each human being has toward nature. In shamanism, the care and protection of the environment is viewed as a spiritual duty that ensures not only the survival of human society but also the balance and harmony of the entire planet. Sustainability and spiritual awareness. In shamanism, sustainability is closely linked to spiritual awareness. Shamanic practices emphasize the careful use of natural resources and the need to live in harmony with natural cycles. This means taking only what is needed and ensuring that the earth has enough time and space to regenerate. The idea of sustainability in shamanism goes beyond the material world and also encompasses the energetic and spiritual dimensions of the earth. Spiritual awareness in this context means viewing the earth as a living, breathing being whose well-being is directly connected to the well-being of humanity. This connection calls for living in harmony with the environment and cultivating practices that support natural balance. This includes considering the impact of one's own actions on the environment and working to protect and renew the earth. Shamanism teaches that sustainable living is not only an ecological necessity but also a spiritual practice. By consciously and respectfully using the Earth's resources, we strengthen our connection to nature and promote the balance that is crucial for the survival and well-being of all living beings. Sustainability thus becomes an act of reverence and love for the Earth, expressed in all aspects of daily life. Shamanic practices for the earth. Shamanic practices for the earth are rituals and actions aimed at promoting balance and health in the environment. These practices include earth healing rituals, in which the shaman cleanses and energetically recharges the earth to support natural cycles and restore harmony. These rituals may include singing healing songs, setting up altars with natural elements, or performing ceremonies to honor the earth and its spirits. Another important aspect of shamanic practices for the earth is active participation in environmental protection projects. Shamans and practitioners can engage in reforestation projects, river cleaning, or gardening to directly support the earth. These actions are not only physically but also spiritually motivated, as they deepen the connection to the earth and raise awareness of the need for environmental protection. Shamans can also use techniques such as energetic cleansing of places damaged by human activities. This cleansing can help harmonize the energies of a place and promote natural healing. Shamanic practices for the earth serve to heal and strengthen the relationship between humans and nature, reminding us that, as stewards of the earth, we have a responsibility to care for its health and well-being. Shamanic tools and their application. Drums, rattles, and other tools. Drums, rattles, and other shamanic tools are central components of shamanic practice, as they serve to place the shaman into an altered state of consciousness and strengthen the connection to the spiritual realms. The drum is considered one of the most important tools, as its rhythmic sound aligns the shaman's heart with the heartbeat of the earth. Through drumming, the shaman can enter a trance state, allowing access to spiritual realms where they receive healing, wisdom, and guidance. Rattles are also common shamanic tools and are often used to clear energies, call upon spirits, or provide protection. The sound of the rattle can release stagnant energies and cleanse the space before a ritual begins. Other tools such as feathers, staffs, or crystals have specific uses, depending on the traditions and the shaman's goals. Feathers, for example, are often used to direct smoke during a smudging ritual, while crystals are used for energy modulation and healing. Each of these tools is more than just a physical object. It is viewed as a living being with its own energy and spirit. The shaman develops a deep relationship with his tools, which provide him with protection and support not only during rituals but also in everyday life. How to make your own shamanic tools. Crafting one's own shamanic tools is a powerful process deeply connected to one's personal spiritual journey and individual needs. Crafting drums, rattles, or other tools allows the shaman to develop a deep energetic connection to the materials and the tool itself. This process often begins with a ritual gathering of the materials, requesting permission from the nature spirits, and expressing gratitude. Drums are traditionally made of wood and animal hide. The selection of wood and hide is important, as both materials carry a special energy that influences the drum's power. Drum construction can be accompanied by prayers, chants, and meditation to infuse the drum with sacred energy. Rattles are often made from goods, coconuts, or wooden filled with small stones, seeds, or crystals that determine the rattle's sound and energetic signature. Crafting your own shamanic tools is not just about technical skill, but also about the intention and spiritual devotion that go into the process. Throughout the entire crafting process, the shaman should focus on connecting with the spiritual world and ensure that the tool is created with pure intention and energy. This enhances the tool's effectiveness and its connection to the shaman. The care and cleaning of shamanic tools. The care and cleansing of shamanic tools is crucial to maintaining their effectiveness and spiritual purity. Shamanic tools absorb energies from their surroundings during use and therefore require regular cleansing to maintain their power. A common method of cleansing is smudging with sacred herbs such as sage, mugwort, or palo santo. The smoke from these herbs removes negative energies and energetically cleanses the tool. In addition to cleaning, caring for the physical aspects of the tools is also important. Drums, for example, should be protected from extreme humidity and regularly oiled to keep the skin supple. Rattles and other wooden tools also benefit from regular care to prevent cracks and damage. The tools should be stored in a clean, sacred place that protects them from negative influences. The spiritual relationship with the tool should be nurtured through rituals of gratitude and honor. This can be done through prayer, meditation, or regular work with the tools. A well-maintained shamanic tool remains a powerful companion in spiritual work, supporting the shaman in healing and connecting with the spiritual worlds. The way of the shaman. Calling and training of a shaman. The shaman's path often begins with a deep inner calling, expressed as a strong sense of service to others and a connection to the spiritual realm. This calling may manifest through dreams, visions, or unusual experiences that led the individual onto the shamanic path. Traditionally, the role of the shaman is often determined by the community, with the shaman being chosen by the community's elders or spiritual leaders. The training of a shaman is a long and intensive process that includes both formal teachings and practical experience. This training often takes place under the guidance of an experienced shaman who acts as a mentor. The teachings include learning shamanic healing techniques, working with power animals and spirit guides, and performing rituals and ceremonies. An essential component of the training is mastery of the shamanic journey, which allows the shaman to travel between worlds and attain wisdom and healing. In addition to these practical skills, the personal and spiritual development of the shaman is of great importance. The aspiring shaman must learn to confront their own shadows, overcome their fears, and develop a deep connection to natural and spiritual forces. This process requires dedication, discipline, and the willingness to embark on a lifelong journey of learning and growth. The challenges of the shamanic path. The shaman's path is full of challenges, both spiritual and personal. One of the greatest is bearing the responsibility that comes with the role of shaman. Shamans are often confronted with the suffering and problems of others and must be able to process and transform these energies without exhausting themselves. This requires strong inner stability and the ability to set boundaries to protect themselves. Another obstacle on the shamanic path is the isolation this role sometimes brings. Shamans often work alone and must navigate the spiritual world, which can lead to feelings of loneliness. It's important for shamans to have a strong network of support, whether through other shamans, spiritual teachers, or communities that recognize and support their work. In addition, shamans must learn to navigate society's expectations and misunderstandings. In a modern world that is often skeptical of spiritual practices, it can be difficult to fulfill the role of shaman while simultaneously gaining social acceptance. Shamans must therefore find a balance between their spiritual calling and the demands of the outside world, which requires great patience and wisdom. Personal development through shamanism. Shamanism is not only a spiritual practice but also a powerful path to personal development. Working with the spiritual worlds and natural forces, the shaman is continually challenged to better understand themselves and grow. Confronting one's own fears, traumas, and shadow sides is a central aspect of this growth process. By learning to overcome these challenges, the shaman develops deep inner strength and resilience. Another important aspect of personal development in shamanism is deepening one's connection to nature and the spiritual dimension of life. This connection promotes a sense of harmony, peace, and wholeness that is reflected in all aspects of life. Shamanism teaches that each person is part of a larger cosmic web, and this realization leads to a deeper understanding of one's own role and responsibility in the world. Through the ongoing practice of shamanism, the shaman also develops heightened awareness and intuitive wisdom, allowing them to see life from a more comprehensive perspective. This leads to a life based not only on personal growth, but also on service to others and the protection of the natural world. Personal development through shamanism is therefore an ongoing process of transformation that profoundly enriches and expands the shaman's life. Shamanic communities and networks. Shamanic communities and networks play a central role in the life and work of a shaman. These communities consist of people who share a common interest in shamanic practices and support each other in their spiritual growth. In these networks, knowledge is exchanged, experiences are shared, and a space for shared learning and spiritual development is created. Shamanic communities can be organized locally or globally and provide a platform to connect with like-minded people and learn from the wisdom of experienced shamans. These networks offer not only support, but also protection and recognition for the shaman, who can often be isolated in the modern world. By participating in a community, the shaman feels less alone and can carry out their work more effectively and with greater support. Furthermore, these communities promote the exchange of rituals, techniques, and spiritual knowledge, which contributes to the enrichment and deepening of shamanic practice. Shamanic networks often use modern means of communication such as online forums, social media, and video conferencing to facilitate exchange across geographical boundaries. This allows shamans and practitioners worldwide to stay connected, learn from each other, and inspire each other. Group rituals and their dynamics. Group rituals are an important part of shamanic life and have a special dynamic shaped by the collective energy of the participants. These rituals often serve the purpose of healing, protection, or spiritual renewal and offer a powerful way to focus the group's energies and align them toward a common goal. The dynamics of a group ritual are shaped by the intention and energy of all involved, with each participant playing an active role in the ritual process. In a group ritual, the shaman often acts as a leader or facilitator, directing the energies and maintaining the ritual space. Participants are integrated into the process through communal chants, dances, meditations, or other ritual actions. The collective energy generated during a group ritual can evoke profound spiritual experiences and accelerate healing processes. The dynamics of such rituals require a high degree of mindfulness and sensitivity to ensure that all participants feel safe and supported. Group rituals offer the opportunity to experience individual healing in a communal context, which often leads to stronger and more lasting results. Furthermore, they foster a sense of community and spiritual connection among participants, strengthening the community as a whole. The role of the shaman in the community. The shaman plays a central role in the community that goes beyond performing healing rituals. As a spiritual guide, healer, and mediator between the worlds, the shaman is often the one the community turns to in times of need, transition, or crisis. The shaman serves as a counselor, offering spiritual insight and support to overcome individual and collective challenges. In addition, the shaman contributes to maintaining the energetic and spiritual balance within the community. This is done through regular rituals aimed at protecting and healing the community, as well as by fostering connections with the ancestors and the spirits of nature. The shaman is also responsible for identifying and responding to the spiritual needs of the community by initiating rituals and ceremonies that strengthen the sense of community and promote the well-being of all. The role of the shaman requires not only spiritual abilities but also a deep understanding of human nature and the dynamics within the community. The shaman must be able to act compassionately and wisely, while maintaining the boundaries between their own spiritual work and the needs of the community. This role is of great importance, as the shaman represents the spiritual heart of the community and forms a bridge between the physical and spiritual worlds. Dealing with visions and dreams. Visions and dreams are powerful tools in shamanism, offering insights into the spiritual world and one's inner self. They are considered messages from spirits, ancestors, or one's own subconscious and can provide important clues for personal and spiritual growth. Dealing with visions and dreams requires an open and mindful attitude, as they are often symbolic and ambiguous. In a shamanic context, it is important to take visions and dreams seriously and not dismiss them as mere coincidences. Shamans use various techniques to prepare for visions and dreams, such as meditation, fasting, or taking medicinal plants that expand consciousness. Once a vision or significant dream occurs, it is often recorded and reflected upon in order to decipher its messages. The shaman can use these messages in their work to promote healing, guide decision-making, or gain spiritual insights. However, it is also important to recognize the limitations of interpretation and not to take every vision or dream literally. Instead, it is recommended to take an intuitive and symbolic approach that reveals the deeper meaning behind the images and experiences. Techniques for deepening dream work. Deepening dream work in shamanism can be achieved through various techniques aimed at raising awareness of dreams and developing the ability to consciously control or influence them. One of the most effective methods is keeping a dream journal, in which dreams are recorded immediately upon waking. This regular recording helps improve dream recall and recognize patterns or recurring symbols. Another technique is conscious dream incubation, in which the shaman or practitioner formulates a clear intention before going to sleep to have a specific question answered or a specific problem solved in a dream. This intention can be supported by meditation, prayer, or placing symbolic objects under the pillow. Lucid dreaming, in which the dreamer is aware that they are dreaming during the dream, is an advanced dream work technique. In the lucid dream state, the dreamer can actively intervene in the dream events and direct them in desired directions. This allows for a deep exploration of one's own subconscious and targeted work with the symbols and messages that appear in the dream. The interpretation of dreams in a shamanic context. Dream interpretation is a central component of shamanic practice, as dreams are viewed as direct channels of communication with the spiritual world. In a shamanic context, dreams are often interpreted as messages from power animals, ancestors, or spirits seeking to convey advice, warnings, or insights to the dreamer. These dreams are rich in symbolism that must be deciphered to understand their true meaning. Dream interpretation in shamanism often draws on traditional symbolism and personal intuition. It is recognized that symbols in dreams can have individual meanings that depend on the dreamer's life situation and cultural background. The shaman or practitioner reflects on these symbols and searches for their deeper meaning, often with the help of meditation or conversations with spiritual guides. It is also common to interpret dreams in a ritual context, with the shaman honoring and implementing the messages received in the dream through rituals or ceremonies. In this way, the dream world is integrated into physical reality, and the wisdom received in the dream can contribute to personal and communal healing. The interpretation of dreams in a shamanic context is therefore a dynamic process that requires not only cognitive analysis but also spiritual practice and intuitive insight. Through this process, The dream becomes a living tool that accompanies and guides the shaman on his or her spiritual path. Louisa's shamanic journey. Healing the inner garden. It was a cool autumn morning when Louisa arrived in the woods. The fog hung like a silky veil over the trees, and the first rays of sunlight broke through the leaves as she found her place beneath the old oak tree. Her heart was restless, filled with questions and unresolved feelings that had burdened her for months. She longed for clarity, for healing. Louisa sat down on the soft, mossy ground and closed her eyes. She had meditated in this place many times before, but today something was different. Today she felt ready for a journey into the deepest layers of her soul. She took a few deep breaths and listened to the gentle rhythm of the drum she had started on her smartphone. The drum, steady and powerful, accompanied her as she set her intention, healing and connecting with her inner self. With each drumbeat, Louisa slipped deeper into a state of relaxation. The sounds of the forest, the rustling of leaves, and the chirping of birds faded, and soon she found herself in another world. She opened her eyes and found herself in the middle of a vast, green plain. The air was warm and smelled of fresh herbs. Ahead of her lay a narrow path lined with vibrant flowers and grasses. On the horizon, she could see a large, shining mountain, its peak bathed in golden light. Without hesitation, Louisa began walking along the path. After a while, she reached a magical garden. It was no ordinary garden. The plants here glowed in all the colors of the rainbow, and every flower seemed to whisper as she passed by. In the center of the garden stood an ancient tree, enormous and full of life, its roots reaching deep into the earth and its branches seeming to touch the sky. Louisa sensed this was the place where she needed to linger. She sat at the base of the tree and closed her eyes again. She immediately felt a deep connection to the tree, as if its roots were her own, firmly anchored in the ground but ready to absorb the earth's energies. Suddenly, she heard a gentle, wise voice. "Welcome, Louisa," whispered the tree. "This is your inner garden, a place of healing and renewal. But you see, there are also places here that need tending." Louisa opened her eyes and saw some areas of the garden that were withered and dry. A slight pain ran through her heart. These dead spots seemed to symbolize her fears, her old wounds, and the unhealed parts of her soul. "You are ready to heal these places," said the tree. "But you must be gentle with yourself. Start one step at a time." Louisa nodded and stood up. She began to touch the wilted flowers, and with each touch, light streamed from her hands. The flowers slowly began to stand upright. Their colors returned, and the scent of life filled the garden. As she continued walking, she felt the old wounds in her heart begin to dissolve. Every flower she touched healed not only the garden, but also herself. Suddenly, an animal spirit appeared before her, a beautiful white wolf with glowing eyes. The wolf looked at her, and without words, Louisa sensed the message. "Trust your instincts. You are stronger than you think." With this realization, Louisa felt a deep warmth rising within her. She knew she was ready to face the challenges of her life with the strength and wisdom she had found on this journey. After healing the last part of the garden, she sat down again at the foot of the old tree. The garden now shone in all its glory, and Louisa felt lighter, clearer, and full of energy. "Remember," said the tree, "this garden is always within you. You can return here anytime you need healing or rest." Louisa closed her eyes, thanked the tree and the wolf for their guidance, and with a deep breath, she felt herself return to her body. She felt the soft mossy ground beneath her, heard the whispering of the forest and the drumming in the distance. When she opened her eyes, she was back beneath the old oak tree, in the human world. But something was different. She carried the peace and clarity of the journey within her. With a gentle smile, she stood up and walked slowly back along the path through the forest, knowing that she could always call upon the power and wisdom of her inner garden whenever she needed it. Maria's shamanic journey, the path to inner peace. Maria sat alone in her small, quiet room. The last few months had been turbulent. Stress at work, conflicts within the family, and inner turmoil had overwhelmed her thoughts. She felt herself becoming increasingly detached from herself. The inner peace she had once known seemed lost. But deep down, Maria knew there was a way to find herself again. Today was the day she was ready to embark on a journey, not abroad, but deep within herself. She had long heard of shamanic journeying, an ancient practice for connecting with the unseen worlds and one's own soul. Today was the day she dared to take that step. Maria sat on the ground, closed her eyes, and listened to the gentle sound of the drum she had carefully started. The rhythmic beats reminded her of the earth's heartbeat, and with each drumbeat, she felt her thoughts slow down, dissolve, and slip into a deep trance. Soon she found herself in an unfamiliar place. Ahead of her lay a wide path leading into a dense, misty forest. The path was covered with soft, green moss, and the chirping of birds could be heard in the distance. Maria instinctively knew that this path would lead her to inner peace. She walked cautiously forward as the fog around her lifted slightly. The trees whispered in the wind, as if they were sharing ancient secrets that could only be heard by those willing to listen. After a while, Maria reached a clearing in the forest. In the center of this clearing stood a small pond, its water so clear that she could see to the bottom. The pond shimmered in the soft light that filtered through the treetops. "This is the mirror of your soul," said a deep, calm voice behind her. Maria turned around and saw an old woman dressed in a simple white robe. Her eyes radiated wisdom, and her presence was calming, almost as if Maria had known this woman her entire life. "I am your inner teacher," the woman said. "You called me to show you the path to peace." Mary felt safe and calm in the presence of this wise woman. She followed her to the edge of the pond and saw her own reflection in the water. But what she saw was not the image she had expected. Instead of her familiar face, images of her worries, fears, and doubts stared back at her. Her heart sank as she saw the weight of these burdens she had carried for so long. The old woman gently placed a hand on Maria's shoulder. "This is the first step to healing. You must see the burdens you carry in order to be able to let them go." Tears welled up in Maria's eyes as she realized how deeply rooted her unrest was. She was afraid of disappointment, afraid of not being enough, and afraid of losing control. These fears had cast a shadow over her life and disturbed her inner peace. "But how can I let all this go?" Maria asked desperately. The old woman smiled gently. "Go to the water. Dip your hands in it and trust the flow of life. The water will wash away everything that burdens you." Maria knelt down and dipped her hands into the clear pool. She immediately felt a wave of calm flood through her body. The water was pleasantly cool, and as she moved her hands, the images of fear and worry slowly began to dissolve. The water carried them away as if they had never existed. She took a deep breath and felt lightness return within her. The heaviness that had accompanied her for so long dissolved. Her heart felt freer, and for the first time in a long time, a deep stillness settled within her. Peace begins with acceptance. The old woman said quietly. You don't have to be perfect, Maria. You just have to be willing to embrace the moment as it is. Inner peace isn't something you can force. It comes when you learn to let go and live in trust. Maria stood up and looked into the pond again. This time she saw her true self. A radiant, peaceful face, free from the burden of expectations. She smiled, knowing she could return to this place whenever she needed it. Thank you, she whispered to the old woman. I am always with you. The woman replied with a gentle nod. Remember this moment the next time you seek peace. With one last glance at the pond and the peaceful clearing, Maria felt ready to head back. She turned and slowly walked back along the path, through the forest, which was now bright and full of life. The fog had disappeared, and the birds sang loudly, as if celebrating Maria's newfound peace. When Maria finally opened her eyes, she found herself back in her room, sitting on the floor. The drum had stopped, but the silence within her remained. She felt a deep calm, a knowing that she had found within herself the peace she had long sought. With a deep breath, she stood up and looked out the window. The world around her was still the same, but inside her, everything had changed. She now carried in a peace within her, and she knew she could always return to this place of calm whenever she needed to. Shamanic healing ritual. The circle of light. Purpose. This ritual serves to heal, release old energies, and create positive, supportive connections between participants and nature. Duration. Approximately 30-60 minutes. Preparation. Location. Choose a quiet spot in the forest where you feel comfortable and won't be disturbed. A spot under trees or near a flowing stream is ideal. Materials. Drums or rattles, if available. A candle or a lantern, to symbolize light. Something you can give to the forest as a thank you, such as flowers or natural gifts. No plastic or artificial items. A simple text for the healing chant that you can sing together. Example follows below. Ritual procedure. Circle of connection. Stand in a circle and hold hands. Breathe deeply to ground yourself. You can close your eyes and imagine your feet firmly connected to the earth, like roots reaching deep into the ground. Take a moment to listen to the silence of the forest and feel the power of nature around you. You are part of this cycle, just like the trees, the water, and the wind. Opening of the ritual. One of you can open the ritual by saying, "We are gathered here today to experience healing, for ourselves, for each other, and for the earth. We ask the forces of nature and our ancestors to support and guide us." Light the candle or lantern in the center of the circle to symbolize the light and healing energy you will create during the ritual. Song for healing. Sing a simple healing chant together. You can use a shamanic or spiritual chant, or create something intuitively. Here's an example of a simple healing chant you can sing. Mother Earth, heal me. Father Sky, guide me. In this circle we stand united. The light of peace shall shine upon us. Sing this chant several times in a row, keeping the same rhythm, as you slowly enter a meditative state. If you like, you can gently accompany the rhythm on a drum or rattle. Feel how the chant lifts your energy and the healing power increases. Sharing healing energy. After the chant, hold hands again and imagine a golden light rising from the center of the circle. This light symbolizes the healing energy you are creating together. Each of you can say silently or out loud what you want to let go of, whether it's fears, pain, stress, or negative thoughts. You can send it into the golden light in the center of the circle, which absorbs and transforms these energies. Afterwards, each of you can say out loud what positive energy you would like to invite, such as healing, peace, love, strength, or serenity. Imagine the golden light flowing into you and anchoring these healing qualities in your heart. Gratitude and conclusion. When you feel the healing process is complete, release your hands and stand silently for a moment. You can end the circle with a collective gesture of gratitude. For example, by all saying at once, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Then each of you individually goes to the center of the circle to touch the candle or lantern and give in a thanks for the healing. You can also place your offerings of gratitude, for example, flowers or leaves, next to a tree or a special place in the forest. Return to the present. Breathe deeply, open your eyes, and feel the forest around you. Take a moment to observe nature and feel how connected and empowered you feel. If you wish, you can have a short conversation at the end and share how each of you felt during the ritual and what messages or sensations you received. Important instructions. Intention. The ritual works best when all participants set a clear intention. Healing, peace, letting go of negativity and creating positivity. Respect nature. Make sure you treat nature with respect. Don't leave any trash behind and choose only natural gifts that won't harm the forest. Openness. Be open to the energies and messages you may receive during the ritual. It's less about perfect execution than about connecting with nature and each other. This ritual is a powerful way to share a deep, healing experience with nature, your inner self, and your friends. The communal singing and sharing of energy create a deep connection and promote healing on an emotional and spiritual level. Shamanic journey. The path to the source of inner wisdom. It's a clear night when Maria closes her eyes again, the rhythmic drumbeats echoing deep within her. She sits on the soft ground of the forest she knows so well, but this time she knows that this journey will take her deeper than ever before. With each drumbeat, she feels herself drifting further away from the outside world. Plunging deeper into herself, she sees a path of luminous sand winding gently through an ancient forest. The trees around her are tall and majestic, their branches arching above her like a protective dome. The air is cool but pleasant, and she can breathe in the scent of moss and pine needles. Maria begins walking along the path, her steps light, almost weightless. She knows she's on the path to something important, a source hidden deep within her. As she continues, the forest around her begins to whisper. It's a gentle murmur, as if the trees want to share their secrets, and Maria feels a wave of trust wash over her. After a while, she reaches a clearing. In the center of this clearing is a clear, sparkling lake. The water is so calm that it looks like a mirror, reflecting the starry sky above her. Bright flowers of all colors grow along the lake's shores, and the ground beneath her feet is soft and inviting. In the center of the lake stands an ancient stone fountain, from which a gentle stream of clear, pure water rises. This is the source of wisdom, healing, and clarity. Maria walks slowly toward the lake, and to her surprise, the water carries her steps. She can walk across the surface as if she were solid as the ground. Each step brings her closer to the well, and with each step, she feels her worries and fears lighten, as if they were disappearing into the water behind her. When she reaches the well, she looks into the clear water and sees something that touches her deeply, her own reflection, but not as she knows herself. In her reflection, She sees herself in complete peace, with shining eyes, full of strength and wisdom. It is a vision of her highest self, the version of herself free of doubt, fear, and pain. She feels the power of this vision rising within her. Without hesitation, Maria dips her hands into the clear water of the well and brings it to her heart. The water is pleasantly cool, and as it touches her skin, she feels it healing her deepest wounds. Old injuries she has carried with her for years begin to fade. The water flows through her with a warmth and clarity she has never experienced before. A gentle voice, her own inner voice, speaks to her. Everything you need lies within you. You carry the wisdom and strength to overcome everything in your heart. Trust the flow of life as you trust the water that carries you. Maria smiles. She knows this is true. With a deep breath, she draws water from the well once more and drinks it. It tastes like fresh mountain air and sun-warmed spring water, and she feels every cell in her body light up, filled with new energy and clarity. As she turns and begins her walk back to the shore, she feels light, as if she's left the baggage of her past behind in the waters of the lake. The forest around her seems brighter and more alive, the trees now whispering songs of peace and joy. Each step brings her closer to her inner balance, her true core. As she steps back onto the glowing path that leads her back into the forest, she knows she can return to this source at any time. The source isn't just a place in the etherworld, it's within her, in her heart, and she can draw from this wisdom at any time. As the drums slow and finally fall silent, Maria opens her eyes. The forest she sits in is the same, but she is not. She is changed, purified, full of inner clarity and wisdom. A faint smile spreads across her lips. The path to the source of wisdom lies within her, and she now carries it within her forever. This shamanic journey leads Maria to her inner source of wisdom, a place of deep peace and inner clarity. Anyone who reads this journey can embark on this path to heal old wounds, find answers to deep questions, and discover their true self. Rights and ownership notice. This audiobook is published and distributed by Veröffentlichung LLC. All copyrights, publishing rights, distribution rights, audio rights, and related intellectual property rights for this work have been lawfully and exclusively acquired by Veröffentlichung LLC. Veröffentlichung LLC is the sole and unrestricted rights holder of this audiobook, including the right to reproduce, distribute, publish, monetize, and publicly perform the content on digital platforms such as YouTube. The original manuscript files, source documents, and contractual acquisition records serve as proof of lawful ownership. The original author and/or their authorized representative, Renovatio LLC, has transferred all relevant rights to Veröffentlichung LLC in accordance with applicable copyright and publishing law. This ownership applies to all current and future uses of this work, including audio, video, and digital publications. Effective date of rights ownership: the 1st of February 2026. Any unauthorized use, reproduction, re-upload, redistribution, or claiming of this content is strictly prohibited. Copyright Veröffentlichung LLC. All rights reserved.